We're so close to the ending, man. Literally 83.6% done. I'm telling you, we're in the teens, right? We only need 17, sorry, is my mathing? We only need 16.4% left, and we are done with LOTM. That is crazy. All right, we're gonna be reading. So I do apologize for the SS fans ending predictions, dude. They all live happily ever after. If they don't live happily ever after, and by they I mean whoever I care about doesn't live happily ever after, I'll fucking riot, man. I hope not. I better not be reading this bitch for an entire year only to end in tragedy, man. I swear to God. But you know what? I'ma like it. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I've come to terms that I don't think Klein is gonna get a happy ending. I already know Klein is not gonna get a happy ending. I know one of the Moretti. I'm not sure to read chat right now. I know one of the Moretti siblings isn't gonna get a happy ending. Probably one will, right? I can see like Benson or Melissa dying, and then for Forz and Shio, I can see Forz or Shio dying. Those are the two pairs where I can see one person dying each. And you know what? It is what bro thinks life is sunshine and rainbows. I know. I want it to be sunshine and rainbows, but I know it's not, man. Knowing this series, and you know what? I think I actually am gonna like it more if some crazy fucked up tragic shit happens. Because the way I work, it's weird. The more I cry, the more I like something. Like the more emotional I get is like the more I cry is because if I cry it's because I'm invested. If you get me crying over like even if it's like a happy ending, if you get me crying, I'm gonna remember it more. I don't know, man. We'll see. We will see where it ends. But I hope it's happy, but I don't think it's gonna be happy. All right, chapter 1187. The goal is to pass 1200 today, so we'll see how far we get. As long as we pass 1200, we're good for today. But chapter 1187 is called Changing. I was about to say Changing Star. Oh my god. You can tell I've been reading Shadow Slave today. I was about to say Changing Star. No, chapter 1187 is called Change. That's it. That's the whole title right there. 1187. Change. Upon hearing the captain's instructions, Nina pointed out the window. Are any of Frank's experiments not strange? All of them are. Katlia was momentarily at a loss for words. All she could do was sigh and say, if there are any signs of danger, write to me immediately. As a mystologist, she also had her own messenger. All right. Nina puffed her chest and out and said, if there's anything to blame, it's solely because I'm the most mature and reliable person on the future. Okay, Nina. Having said that, she asked curiously, Captain, what are you doing in Lowen? What mission did you take on? Are you going to engage in some sabotage raids behind enemy lines? Nina was a... Lauren, raising the volume. Nina was a Faisakian descendant, and she was considered half Intis. She naturally had some inclinations in recent war, therefore she guessed that her captain had established contact with Intis intelligence department. You could say that Katlia replied sternly. In a sense, Nina's guess wasn't wrong. She had indeed taken on a mission and was dealing damage in Lowen's capital Backland. However, her target was an official faction, but a cultist. Furthermore, there was still a chance to meet the Queen. She probably hasn't left Backland yet, and the earliest she'll leave probably after the new year. Upon thinking of that, Katlia suddenly felt a little excited. Ever since she left the Dawn, she hadn't really met Queen Mystic. She only had letters to communicate with her, or despite being on the same boat, they didn't communicate with one another for some reason. Wow, now the music is way too loud. Man, Elden Ring music, man. Tell me about it. Nina didn't dare to press further, and she pointed to the door and said, Captain, is there anything else? If not, we'll leave. Katlia nodded, indicating that the future of boat swing could leave with her subordinates. Just as Nina held the candle and gently twisted it, Katlia suddenly recalled something and hurriedly shouted, Nina, huh? Nina. Man, we've been saying Nina a lot this chapter. Nina, whose blonde hair was tied into a high ponytail, turned around with a confused expression. Don't drink, Don't drink. Katlia emphasized seriously. When I return to the ship, you'll be allowed to have your fill. Nina immediately revealed a charming smile. Deal. Katlia thought for a moment before extorting. Apart from Frank. Oh, I thought we were referencing Frank's milk. But no. But Nina likes... She's an alcoholic, I think, right? Nina was the one with the voluptuous chest, right? That was her description when we first met her in Volume 3. I think. Or am I thinking of someone else? Or am I thinking of Edwina's crew? I think I'm thinking of Edwina's crew. Apart from Frank, you have to take note of Heath's condition. Oh no, yeah, that is Nina's one of the like the third fleet, right, or the third captain, or the third in charge. Apart from Frank, you have to take note of Heath's condition. Don't let him generate curiosity towards unknown voices, and don't let him be overly exhausted. Also, put Otolov out of his room frequently and control the frequency and times to interact with mysticism knowledge. Also, I know. Don't I know them all too well? Nina waved her hand and agreed. After the boatswain and her subordinates left the captain's cabin and closed the door behind them, Katlia cast her gaze out the window to look at the currently invisible backland. After a few minutes, she took out a tarot card from the deck in her hand. It depicted a lonely old man with a glass lantern and staff, the hermit card. No, Nina art is confirmed, unfortunately. No Nina art to confirm, unfortunately. Oh, really? Late at night, Backland Empressboro, Earl Hall's house. Audrey, who was wearing a white silk nightgown, suddenly opened her eyes. She took a blue cloak and draped it over her body. She then got out of bed and walked to the full-body mirror in the room. Through the crimson moonlight shining through the curtains, she carefully observed herself. Okay. Her pair of emerald green eyes seemed to grow brightly and limpid. It was so clear that one could clearly see every detail. Audrey closed her eyes, but by the time she opened them again, all abnormalities had vanished. The corners of her mouth curled up bit by bit, and a small depression appeared on her face. Her eyes curved slightly as she silently praised herself. Audrey, you finally come this far. She had completely... Oh, shit, she digested it. She had completely digested the Dreamwalker potion. Okay, so now she gets to help out Klein. According to her confidence in herself and her prediction, she had originally believed that it would take her until February for her to digest the potion. To her surprise, she had encountered many strange and completely different dreams recently. This included many dreams within dreams. Literally dreamception. Literally inception, dude. Like the final dream. This included many dreams within dreams. Dreams that were a result of mental illness, lucid dreams, dreams caused by influence of evil spirits and wraiths, and the dreams of a few demigods. Under normal circumstances, as a dreamwalker, Audrey could generally determine the creature's level when entering a dream, thus avoiding danger. However, those demigods had hidden themselves very well. Only when she entered their dreams did she realize that something was amiss and nearly jumped in fright. Fortunately, she wasn't discovered all those times. She ended up accumulating experiences, and she began carefully touring, traveling, observing, and analyzing in the demigod's dreams, allowing her to greatly digest her potion. Oh shit, Audrey was busy. She was fucking busy as fuck, dude. Literally spectating demigod dreams. And she's not hurt. She literally got away. She's A-okay. In addition, the other special dreams gave her a completely different experience. After that, she attempted creating multiple dreams within dreams. Some attempted to hide behind the scenes in her dreams. Oh, there's a lot of dreams in this paragraph. Some attempted to hide behind the scenes in her dreams and guide them into an ingenious manner to develop and interfere with the subconscious in a reverse manner. She treated the mental illness of the owners of the dreams of the corruptions caused by an evil spirit or a wraith. To a certain extent, she had gone against the requirements of only observing, recording, and not making interference, yet this strangely accelerated the digestion of her potion. Oh, so she interfered like a little bit, and it helped her digest? This made her conclude a new principle. If you really want to interfere, then be the mastermind and conductor behind the scenes. It's so that even if the goal succeeds, no one will notice it. So you can interfere as long as no one notices. Okay. This is something that Audrey had done very well. The few people with serious mental illnesses had unknowingly recovered after having 5 or 6 strange dreams. And it was normal for a dream to appear strange and incomprehensible. To be able to digest a Dreamwalker potion so quickly, it's mainly a result of my good luck recently. Without so many unique experiences, I'd definitely have to wait another month or 2. Yes, I might even be caught by a demigod and be thrown into beyond a prison or directly be killed. When did my luck become so good? It seems like it started after I sacrificed the ice cream to that fate domain's angels. His blessed. After I sacrificed the ice cream to Will, she became really lucky all of a sudden. Audrey looked at her reflection and blinked her eyes with a smile. She quickly retracted her gaze, scanned her bedroom. All it takes is ice cream, dude. Music? Oh, you're right. Can you hear it? I'm playing Elden Ring music, but it's so low. Yeah, you're right. You're right, After. Baby was putting a shitload of work, dude. We will change a true god for some ice cream. All it takes is some ice cream, dude. Sitting on it was a deck of cards. I skipped the sentence. She quickly retracted her gaze, scanning her bedroom, and walked to the dressing table. Sitting on it was a deck of cards. In a room of a girl who enjoyed mysticism, it was normal for her to have a deck of tarot cards. Audrey stretched out her right hand and touched the card at the top of her fingertip. She slowly took a deep breath and muttered to herself, "The fighting of the Admantha mountain range is getting more intense. Mitsushire has already lost port." Oh shit, okay. It said that the defenses of the Hornicus mountain range in the Civilis County can't last until spring. If not for the fact that we have gained a significant advantage at sea, our connection with the southern continent's East Ballan would have surely been severe. The one thing I'm sad about is we haven't gone to the front lines yet, man. I desperately want to, like, there's no shot we're in a war and we don't go to the front lines, you know? I feel like we have to go to the front lines. Alfred is still there. I wonder how this war will develop. Thankfully, I'm about to become a demigod. Mr. World has already given me the manipulator's potion formula and main ingredient. The 7 drops of tears that were shed from intense human emotions have also been found during my dream experience recently. The tree mentor's golden leaves were obtained via a trade with the sun, and just short of the blood of an elderly mind dragon. I'll try a trade for it with the psychology alchemists. Before Hyven Rambus died, I was already the person in charge of a small psychological discussion group, but will this reveal that Hyven Rambus' death had something to do with me? Probably. Or could I get Mr. Roll to summon the blood of an elderly mind dragon from history? This can last for at least 15 minutes. When I succeed in advancing, I'll converge my spirituality and complete my queuing. Its disappearance will not affect anything. After all, it's just a supplementary material. The blood of an elderly mind dragon is just supplementary material. Audrey, you actually learn how to fake things. What's more, it's on such matters. After a self-deprecating comment, Audrey began to think about the kind of situation to use to complete the advancement ritual of a manipulator. The ritual required one to drink the potion while in the midst of an emotional resonance, generating during a special occasion with at least 10,000... Oh, shit, I forgot about that. 10,000 people. As her thoughts raised, Audrey came up with a preliminary idea. The goddess's winter gifts day? The goddess's winter gifts day. But no matter how large a mass is, it cannot accommodate 10,000 people. The cathedral can't accommodate so many people. Yes, it's usually impossible. There's a chance I can donate a sum of money. I can suggest we do an extremely large mass in Memorial Square so as to placate the souls that passed away during the war. In the most important square, the family members, relatives, and friends of the deceased are invited. So she's kind of doing what George III did, but like on a less sinister way. Klein was pranking people on the front line, so that's something. Yeah, you know what? He was scaring demigods. Yes. He did do that, but like I want like a full-on like frontal assault attack, man. But yes, Hope, that did happen. That was pretty cool. As long as they accommodate a certain proportion of the participants, the emotions that resonate will affect the others who are participating in mass, allowing the ritual's requirements to be satisfied. After calmly analyzing the situation, Audrey suddenly bowed her head and looked at the mirror of the dressing table. She saw the faint smile on her beautiful face had long disappeared, leaving behind only calmness and sadness in her eyes. She stared at herself, her lips curled up slightly as she whispered, "Audrey, you've become despicable." No. Closing her eyes and opening them again, Audrey had returned to normal. Chill, dude. She reached out of the stack of tarot cards on the dressing table and flipped the card at the top. The card depicted a goddess of justice sitting on a stone chair with a sword in one hand and a balance in the other, coldly watching everything. Backland Hillstonboro in a house with a fireplace. You finished digesting your scribe potion. Shio had just changed into her home clothes when she heard a piece of unbelievable news upon walking back to the living room. Forrest nodded with a haggard expression. Yes. Did you know what kind of life I've been enduring recently? As she was being forced to travel to 6 places in a consecutive manner, she had experienced, admired, and recorded the sights of the day and night. In addition, she would be pulled above the gray fog, recording all kinds of strange or high level beyond her powers. The lightning storm and the historical void summoning. She copied historical void summoning powers had been replaced several times. They had finally recovered their original setup today. I don't know. Shio answered honestly. I know you don't know, you know? Forrest took a deep breath and said, "What about you? How have you been recently?" "Not too bad. It was arranged for me to preside over a paranormal court, and I have some thoughts about acting principles. The speed at which the potion is being digested has increased," Shio acknowledged. "I find it hard to imagine you wearing a judge's robe and sitting at the tribunal seat to judge," foresighted at the bottom of her heart. "Are you trying to say that the prisoners and lawyers won't be able to see me?" Shio added, not minding it at all. Forrest laughed dryly and said, "I'll need to have some rest to prepare my advancement ritual to become a traveler." Oh, she's gonna be a traveler? Forrest like Shio? I know, man. I think that's one of my favorite ships, dude. What? Not my favorite ship, right? But one of my favorite ships. "Don't you need to go deep into the spirit world? Do you have a way?" Shio asked in puzzlement. Forrest nodded and said, "The person asked me to summon his messenger." Yeah, here we go, dude. Yeah, we're gonna ask Renette for help. Chapter 1188 is called Thick skinned. Summoned his messenger as judgment of the TARROT Club. As a member of MI9, Shio understood what a messenger meant. Furthermore, she knew that the middle ranks of the numinous episcopate widely used messengers. Before she could ask for more details, she saw Force walk towards the guest room on the first floor with her eyes vacant and footsteps listless. She said with an ethereal voice, "Let me sleep for a while. We can talk later." She slept all the way till the next morning, waking up thanks to the aroma of meat. Desi Pie Force rubbed her eyes and walked out of the room. She saw that the table was already filled with food. Yes, Shio came out of the bathroom, the one from the corners of the street. It's not bad. Force enthusiastically acknowledged and sat beside the dining table. She quickly picked up the Desi Pie and stuffed it into her mouth. After finishing one, she drank a mouthful of sweet iced tea and sighed in satisfaction. This is life. That's me every time I have tea. Oh no, I forgot to brush my teeth. After she was done washing up, she finally regained her ability to think. She looked at Shio in puzzlement and said, "That MI9 not have any suspicions about how you secretly became a judge? They thought it was a remuneration that motivated me back then." Shio informed her of what she had learned. Forrest stroked her hair and said with a smile, "That's true. Let them ask the Church of the Evernight." She covered her mouth and yawned. Okay. "I'm going to summon the messenger." After this period of recording, the way she addressed Klein had changed from German Sparrow to Mr. World to that person. On the one hand, it was a form of respect. On the other hand, she was afraid that someone would eavesdrop. Upon hearing her friend's words, she looked around and asked in confusion. You guys can hear the music, right? I think it's low. Asked in confusion, "Aren't you going to set up the ritual?" She remembered that summoning a messenger required a ritual. "That's only one of the methods. The person that got me to use another method." Force glances at her clothes and realizes that her clothes were all wrinkled up since she hadn't had the time to change her clothes last night. Trauma kicking in. Scaring Force is the client's favorite hobby. I'm seeing it. I'm sensing that. Triggering her is a good hobby. Upon realizing that she would be meeting the messenger later, she decided to pay attention to her image. She hurriedly returned to the bedroom on the second floor and changed it into a beige dress with frilly designs. A beige dress? After preparing herself, she raised her right hand in front of Shio and she grabbed it as if she wanted to pull something out of the air. In her eyes, the illusory book took form. It quickly flipped and stopped at one of the pages, and the next second, her arms sank and the figure emerged from the void. This was German Sparrow, who was wearing a half-top hat and a black coat. He had a cold expression and unyielding air, but his eyes appeared somewhat dull. "I succeeded. This is just my second attempt. I've only tried it once yesterday and failed." Force's eyes widened as though they wanted to take in more light so as to see more clearly. She knew that this was a historical void projection she had summoned. She wasn't too nervous. Instead, she held her breath and looked weirdly at German Sparrow's projection. She couldn't tell if he was real or fake. She still remembered the combat achievements of this crazy adventurer. Forrest had actually summoned German Sparrow. Shouldn't it be his messenger? Would German Sparrow still be able to summon something? Questions popped up in Shio's mind. Just as Forrest was unsure of what to do next, German Sparrow's eyes started around slightly as his gaze instantly turned focused. He no longer had a rigid and vacant look as though he was alive. Following that, he took out an exquisite silvery harmonica and blew it. No sound came out of it, but the surroundings instantly turned cold as a biting wind stirred. Then a woman dressed in a dark and complicated long dress with four blonde hairs and red eyes in her hands walked out of the void. Her eyes looked at German Sparrow. German Sparrow nodded slightly and pointed at Force. "This lady needs to set up 4 special coordinates deep into the Sparrow world. Please help her." All right. One of the heads of Renette Tinker said as it moved up and down. German Sparrow didn't ask further. As he approached the window, he made the gloves on his left hand to become transparent. His figure quickly disappeared as he teleported out of the house. He left just like that. The historical void projection I summoned left just like that. Force stared at with her mouth slightly open as though she was experiencing comical play. According to her understanding, the thing she summoned should be under her control. How could it leave after giving some instructions? Could it be that the historical void projection has the same personality as the actual person? No, it's as if German Sparrow himself has descended. Force glanced at Shio and realized that she was just as confused as she was. So Klein's historical void projection that she summoned just leaves just like that. At that moment, Force suddenly shivered as though an extremely terrifying creature was glaring at her. She subconsciously turned her head and realized that German Sparrow Messenger was looking at her with 8 red eyes, carefully observing her. As terrifying as German Sparrow, Force forced a smile and said, "Sorry to trouble you, At this moment, Renee Shaker, 4 blood red eyes, heads spoke one after another, need to pay 800 pounds, gold coins. There's still a fee. Force turned to gape once again at a loss for a response. After a few seconds, her thoughts suddenly became active as she began to calculate her savings. After loaning 2,400 pounds to Shio, I still have 780 pounds left. My expenses recently have been quite high, but the royalties from my past novels are still being credited. Adding my other income and the 300 pounds Shio returned to me, I have a total of 1,258 pounds. That's enough. Forrest immediately agreed, but she immediately discovered a problem. Gold coins, all of them. Renette Tinker's forehead shook slightly. Yes, you can. Oh, you can pay me later. As expected, all of them need to be gold coins. I remember the Mr. World had been trying to gather gold coins and exchange for gold coins for quite some time. It was to pay this messenger. The relationship between him and his messenger is really complicated. Mr. World, let me lower the volume down a smidge. Mr. World, one sec. Mr. World should still have quite a few gold coins. I'll try to exchange 800 gold coins from him later. Force secretly heaved a sigh of relief and said, alright. After agreeing, Force saw the headless messenger raise one of her heads in her hand to bite down at her clothes near the shoulder. The surrounding colors became saturated and brighter. The reds became redder, the blacks became blacker, and the whites became whiter. In such a manner, Force was led by Renette Tinker through similar scenes that she had no way of getting her bearings right. It didn't take long before she arrived at the spot where there was a faint fog. In the depths of the fog, one eye after another seemed to look over, but they quickly shrank back. When Force summoned a German surround projection from the historical void backland, he immediately entered the fog of history. The phone bill is still paid in gold. It's still paid in bold. Bold is still paid in gold. Fog of history and dash all the way to the period before the first epoch. So we go back to the first epoch in the void history. His consciousness came alive within the projection, reducing Force spirituality expenditure. Ooh, it's too much for her. This way, Klein had indirectly returned to Backland. That was also the reason why he had got a Miss Magician to use such a complicated method to summon the messenger. As for the messenger summoned by the adventurous harmonica, it was an independent... I hate that I'm yawning right now. It was an independent existence. It didn't increase the burden of Force spirituality burden. Even though historical void projection vanished, Renette Tinker could still remain in the real world if she so wished. After a teleportation, Klein's figure appeared in a secluded alley near St. Selma Cathedral. He then used his faceless powers to change his appearance and figure. During this process, although there were still a few pedestrians in the alley, they were affected by an illusion. They didn't notice a sudden companion appearing beside them. Right on the heels of that, Klein straightened his clothes and pressed on his hat and walked quickly to St. Selma Cathedral. He found a seat to the side of the main prayer hall and sat down. After taking off his hat and chanting an honorific name, he sincerely drew a crimson moon on his chest. Then he clasped his hands together, closing his eyes, and prayed softly to the Evernight Goddess. After taking off his hat and chanting an honorific name, he sincerely drew a crimson moonlight on his chest. Then he clasped his hands together, closed his eyes, and prayed softly to the Evernight Goddess. I'm currently searching for traces of their dark demonic wolf past to grasp his exact condition. At this point, he recalled the dark demonic wolf might have been a former colleague of the Evernight Goddess. They likely knew plenty about each other, and he quickly added, I wonder if you can give me some hints. He didn't wait for a response. Instead, he maintained a calm attitude and continued, after this matter is completed, I plan on heading all the way to the east to see if I can reach the western continent and see what state that place is in. I'll take this opportunity to escape Amont's pursuit and find other possibilities. After praying, he tapped his chest 4 times in a clockwise fashion and whispered, Praise the lady. Just as he finished speaking, a dark night sky with countless stars... Oh shit, she's responding. Just as he finished speaking, a dark night sky with countless stars suddenly appeared in front of him. A message unknowingly appeared in his mind. It was information regarding the black demonic wolf Kotar. Klein was stunned for a moment. Only when the starry sky before him completely disappeared did he returned to his senses. He sincerely praised the goddess once again. After leaving St. Selma Cathedral, he used creeping hunger and another teleportation to arrive nearby the Holy Wind Cathedral and located in Sherwood Borough. He wanted to pray to the Lords of Storms. He looked up the towering steeple and felt some momentary hesitation. He really wasn't sure if he should enter the headquarters of the Church of the Lords of Storms in Backland. Okay? I'm just a historical void projection. There's nothing to be afraid about. I won't suffer any losses from praying, but what if the Lords of Storms hears about that Amon situation and decides to bestow 032 to me? That way, I won't have to risk hunting the dark demonic wolf. A person should always be careful. A person should always be hopeful. After some thought, he finally made up his mind. He carefully raised his hand and summoned Uni, the one who had yet to be parasitized by Amon from the historical void, to walk into the Holy Wind Cathedral in his own form. Okay? A minute or two later, a dark cloud... Oh, shit, he responded too? A minute or two later, a dark cloud suddenly appeared above Backland. There seems to be a flash of silver lightning in the Holy Wind Cathedral, but no one noticed. Oh, shit. Did we also get a response from him? Chapter 1189 is called As Soon as the Dark Clouds in the Sky Dispersed, Everything in the Holy Wind Cathedral Returned to Normal. In a nearby corner, Klein raised his hands to rub his forehead. The corners of his mouth twitched as he mumbled, "If you didn't want to give it to me, so be it, but why did you kill my marionette?" Oh, he fucking killed him. But why did you kill my marionette? He then took a deep breath before his figure rapidly faded away and disappeared. The time limit for maintaining the historical void projection was almost over. Well, I'm back. What did I miss? Lords of Storm killed Uni. Well, he killed the void projection, dude. He then took a deep breath before his figure rapidly faded away and disappeared. The time limit for maintaining the historical void projection was almost over. After all, a scribe's imitation of a high-level power had significant differences from the original version. The burden of a Sequence 6 summoning a Sequence 3 was rather heavy. Even if a scholar York could transfer his consciousness over and reduce the spirituality expenditure, it was impossible for Forrest to keep it up for too long. On the outskirts of Backland, downstream of the Tussock Rivers, I kept saying Leonard yesterday when I was talking to Wiz. Is Leonard. We literally went over it. It's Leonard. We literally went over it. The other day. It's Leonard. Leonard hid his red gloves and slowly walked towards a certain spot. Suddenly, the slightly aged voice of Plazaros rang out of his mind. "How's your former colleague been doing recently?" Thinking back to the conversation in the TARROT Club, Leonard, that's so funny. We love our old mythology. I'm on Leonard camp. I am on Leonard camp just because I'm so used to saying Leo at this point. But yeah, I remember I was listening to our Volume 5 conversation and he was like, Leonard. I'm like, oh my god, it's Leonard. I forgot. Leonard hid his red gloves and slowly walked towards a certain spot. Suddenly, the slightly aged voice of Plaza Ross rang out of his mind. "How's your former colleague been doing recently?" Thinking back to the conversation in the TARROT Club, Leonard suppressed his voice and said, "He just avoided a trap set up by Amon's avatar. He's searching for the truth in the forsaken lands of the gods." After listening to what he had to say, Plaza Ross didn't say another word and allowed Leonard to proceed forward. After setting up a special coordinates, Forrest was taken back into the real world by German Sparrow Messenger. Scroll down. "I feel exhausted, but I just woke up from not too long ago. It must be that the high sequence beyond her powers are too draining on my spirituality." Forrest covered her mouth and yawned. She looked at Shio with a haggard expression. That's possible. Shio agreed with her friend's judgment. Her intuition told her that Grimspro's projection had been summoned definitely wasn't simple. It could even be equivalent to a saint. After some hesitation, Shio sat up, slept a little longer. Don't attempt to advance in such a state. In one of my previous trials, the murderer was mentally psychotic. He would deliberately make his friends, his students, and his tramps he took in, consume the potions in all sorts of negative states, watch them lose control and mutate into all kinds of monsters, disgusting and terrifying ones. What was this fellow goal? Forrest was stunned for a second. Two goals. One was to observe whether the same potion caused the same loss of control on different people. Oh, I never thought about it that way. I didn't know. Yeah, of course we're gonna get to 1,200. Just I don't know why I'm yawning. When I was reading Shadows, it's like when we're reading Shadowslave and it was a boss fight, I was like wide awake. It's like it's weird, man, because it's still early. I'm not like wide awake, but if I'm reading fighting, I'm good. The other, I think I am gonna get more coffee. The other was to use oil paintings to record the corresponding scenes. He believed that the madness, the pain, and distortion he had unparalleled beauty, one that can stimulate his greatest creative passion. She'll recall the trial from back then. She felt a sense of hatred and lingering fear. He was a complete lunatic. That fellow should be executed. Forrest couldn't help but shudder when she imagined it. She bared her teeth and said, was he a cultist? Perhaps, but there were no clues. On the surface, he appeared to be an outstanding artist, and he is very famous internationally. If it wasn't for more than five of his students and friends and who had disappeared over the past few years, attracting our attention, that might have had to wait until he completely went mad and lost control, becoming a monster. And before this matter would be discovered, she suddenly paused for a moment before saying, back then, everyone in the law enforcement team opened up his hidden basement, vomited. It's probably fucking gross, dude. They opened his hidden basement, vomited. There were all kinds of mutated and terrifying corpses, and hanging overhead were all kinds of harrowing yet charming oil paintings. A hateful fellow, but it's only a very attractive story. Forced thought for a moment impressed. Was he a devil? It's literally straight up Hannibal, dude. Have you guys watched the show? When they show his refrigerator? Ugh. No, he's a psychiatrist. Shio regretted her friend's guess. You sentenced him to death. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. You sentenced him to death. Force asked anticipation. Shio shook her head. His defense lawyer convinced me that he's more suited to be a sealed artifact researcher. There's a lawyer. You have lawyers at the paranormal court. Isn't it all a direct trial? Force asked in surprise. Shio straightened her blonde hair and said, there are some beyonders from the lawyer pathway among us who also need to act. Of course, they don't know what they're acting. Of course, they don't. Oh, they don't know that they are acting. All right. Forrest yawned again and pointed out to the reclining chair beside the fireplace. That makes sense because they wouldn't know. I'll sleep for a while, and don't you have to work? We can't take the days off. She replied successfully. Forrest didn't ask further as she walked to the fireplace and collapsed beside it. About 2 to 3 hours later, she woke up and cogitated for 15 minutes. Following that, she found the traveler beyond her characteristics and the supplementary ingredients given to her by her teacher, Dorian Gray Abraham, and concocted a potion formula. The potion's color was white and transparent. It was like a half-melted snow water, occasionally producing light green bubbles. Forrest held the potion and glanced at her friends, who was on the guard on the side. She smiled and said, if I lose control, don't hesitate. Just chop off my head. Oh, hell no, bro. I don't like that. That's a little fucking on the lows. Definitely on the nose. If I lose control, don't hesitate. Just chop off my head. No, pray first. There might still be a chance to save me. Shio slowly nodded, maintained this state. Forrest silently exhaled. Without any hesitation, she raised the bottle and gulped it down. In the blink of an eye, she felt her body and her eyes lit up one after another. They blasted around her body and opened one illusionary door after another. Oh shit, she's drinking it. Forrest's consciousness couldn't help but enter one of them. Her entire body turned transparent as she vanished. In such a chaotic state of mind, Forrest nearly couldn't regain her sense of self-awareness. Thankfully, she had her fair share of being tormented recently and had a strong will. Thank you, Klein. Furthermore, from time to time, she could feel the 4 special coordinates in the spirit world. Finally, she slowly came to her senses. After an unknown period of time, she realized that she had already entered the depths of the spirit world. It was difficult to tell her exact location, and she couldn't find her way back. With the help of the 4 special coordinates, Forrest slowly traversed back to a familiar spot, leaving the saturated stacked colors and the thin fog behind before walking out of the spirit world. The 4 special coordinates weren't only used to help me find a way back. They can also effectively maintain my self-awareness. Teachers only sequence 7, so without any actual experience, it's inevitable for him to miss out on such knowledge. As Forrest thought, she cast her gaze towards Shio and smiled slightly. I'm a traveler. Oh shit, she made it. Shio heaved a sigh of relief and asked curiously, what new beyond her powers did you get? The main one is teleportation, also invisible hands. In addition, the number of demigod level beyond her powers I can record has increased to 4. The actual effect should be close to that of sequence 4. Force examined herself. Why is Ellie barking? She then raised her hand and pulled off a tarot card from across the room, one used for divination. If it was a person with a scepter in his hand. A scepter? It was a person with a scepter in his hand that pointed towards the sky. His left hand had pointed to the earth. In front of him were people like the Holy Grail, a scepter, a sword, star coins, the magician card. Every year's longest night was the birthday of the Evernight Goddess. Every year's longest night was the birthday of the Evernight Goddess, commonly known as the Winter Gifts Day. On this day, all Evernight believers would head to a nearby cathedral to witness the sunset of the sun. When night falls, they would participate in mass, enjoy a holy meal, listen to the hymns, and do all sorts of activities. The year 1350 for the Lowen's Evernight believers was a very heavy year. The intensity of the war and the cost of the items had made them lose the good mood they had. However, on Winter's Gifts Days, they still came out of their houses. This is because the Church of Evernight was going to hold a massive mass in the various large public squares to placate the souls that had been passed away. At the same time, many foundations would distribute food vouchers at the mass. People who received them could be able to obtain the corresponding items in any of the relief points or cathedrals. This led to the Storm and Steam believers who didn't celebrate Winter Gifts Day to head to the near square. Westboro, okay, so they also go. Westboro Memorial Square, where George III was blasted to death. Good times, man. Dressed in a black cloak, was walking with her golden retriever, Susie. She's wearing a black cloak? Oh, I thought she was wearing a black coat. I'm like, I've never seen fucking Audrey and like her goth getup. Like, what is this? Dressed in a black cloak while walking her golden retriever, Susie with a leather bag on her back, Audrey walked among the nobles looking refined. Her expression didn't seem abnormal, but she hid some pain and guilt. She had obtained the blood of an elderly mind dragon. After concocting the manipulator potion, she placed it in the small bag Susie was carrying. Susie was already a sequence 6 hypnotist. The fact that a dog is a sequence 6. The fact that the dog was able to rise the ranks quicker than fucking Rosago, man. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. Pretty sure, but it's not explicit. Susie was already a sequence 6 hypnotist. She believed that not many people present would notice her abnormality and snatch things from her. The blood of the elderly mind dragon came from the hermit cat Leah. Apparently, she had obtained it from Queen Mystic, and she had paid 3,000 pounds for it. This was in line with her expectations, and she didn't really want to obtain the ingredients from the psychology alchemists. After all, her direct superior, Hyven Rambus, had only died a few months ago. To collect the items needed for advancement, it made an inevitable for people to suspect her. As for the other members of the Psychology Alchemists, they had the ability and intelligence to notice this point. Besides, after becoming a demigod, one had to come into contact with the Psychology Alchemists. They had the ability and intelligence to notice this point. Besides, after becoming a demigod, one has to come into contact with the Psychology Alchemist counselors. According to Mr. Wall, there might be an angel from the mind domain hidden amongst them. I'll continue making preparations with a suitable opportunity and excuse. I'll consider raising my position in the organization. I'll hide my strength for now. The blonde Audrey lifted the ends of her skirt slightly and slowly walked towards the predetermined spot. Along the way, many nobles extended their hands to her in a friendly manner, hoping to help this beautiful noble and weak young lady through the crowd. However, they were all blocked by Earl Hall. He got his eldest son, Hybert, to be in charge of his youngest daughter, while he held his wife's arms and walked ahead. From time to time, he would turn back to look at the most dazzling jewel of Backland. Not long after that, their family arrived at their destination, the Church of the Evernights Bishops of Backland Diocese. Saint Anthony Stephen walked up to the high platform in his black robe with the red patterns. He looked around, raised his right hand, tapped his chest 4 times in a clockwise fashion, praised the lady. When the believers below responded, the saint's deep voice could be heard by everyone. Today is a celebration of the night, but the goddess's response is a pity. She takes pity on every mother who has lost her child. She takes pity on every lonely child, and she takes pity on everyone who has suffered immense pain. She said that all of this will end, all the suffering will return to silence and repose. That's sad, man. All the suffering will return to silence and repose. Fuck. Damn. And then next chapter is for next chapter 1190, it's called Resonance. All right. Do you guys remember Soul Eater when they use resonance? I think that's what it was called, right? Now that we have these better headphones, I don't feel like I'm suffocating. Chapter 1000. I have to catch up to season 3. I know, me too. I have to catch up, man. I fell behind a little bit. Chapter 1190 is called Resonance. Just because Resonance, I keep thinking of Soul Eater and Fire Force now, dude. That's so funny. As Anthony Stephen Vincent's words echoed in Memorial Square, it spread to the others. The Lowaness citizens who have participated in the mass were both moved and sad, feeling warmth in the midst of their depression. In a different square, different choirs began to chant the hymns. The ethereal and holy voice seemed to echo deep in everyone's heart. Full-faced above the land stood the crimson moon, and sweet it was to dream of themselves, of child and wife and parents, but evermore. Unknowingly, oh, there's a translator notes, so I think that's referencing like a quote, right? Or like it's referencing a poem. Of child and wife and parents, but evermore. Unknowingly, everyone felt their spirits being cleansed and their spirituality naturally released. They seemed to have entered a dream and were strolling in a quiet darkness. Their children were sleeping here, their parents, their wives, their husbands, their friends, and their deceased were no longer suffering. Oh man, that's sad. They no longer had any pain. Their expressions were peaceful and gentle. We look upward into the night sky. We tenderly say her name, Evernight Goddess. Wow, that's sad, dude. If she heard us, she would surely agree, smiling with purity at the end. At the dead? Come rest and sleep well, my children. The people who were strolling in the dream felt awash with intense sorrow once again, as though they realized that they were really going to bid each other farewell. They recalled all the beautiful memories from the past. They recalled the scene of their family enjoying the delicacies of having fun at the dinner table. They recalled the people who looked... Oh, wow, this got really sad all of a sudden, dude. They recalled the people who looked at them warmly and the pain of seeing them get hurt. When they learned of their passing, it was as if they could tear tear their souls apart. They recalled the dark clouds that separate them that had been brought to the war. They were sleeping peacefully in the serene nation, no longer having any worries. However, the people who surveyed had to suffer the days and night, turning haggard and withered. One teardrop after another flowed down. The people participating in the massive memorial square could no longer suppress their emotions as they silently released the pain they had accumulated. A huge wave of sadness filled the air, mixing with one chanting of the choir, as though it had a corporeal form. Cross your hands humbly over your breasts, make the silent prayer. As she shot from the bottoms of her heart, the only escape is tranquility. The people who were sobbing silently with their eyes closed subconsciously followed the content of the hymns and made similar gestures. Then they shouted in their hearts, infected with each other's emotions. The only escape is tranquility. The grief reached an apex with more than 10,000 hearts resonating at Memorial Square. At this moment, Audrey opened her eyes and bent down. She took a bottle of potion from her. Oh, she's going to drink it. She took a bottle of potion from the leather pouch that her golden retriever Susie was carrying. There were countless points of light floating in the potion, just like a manifestation of the sea of the collective subconscious. Oh, they're all in harmony right there. Like all of them are in sync. Yeah, what's up? Hello. What's up, man? How you doing, Efren? Gulped down the liquid. Oh, I skipped a sentence. Audrey didn't hesitate. Under such circumstances, she removed the bottle cap and gulped down the liquid inside. Unlike in the past, where she could experience the potion sluggish through her throat and into her stomach, she immediately felt abnormal. She felt that she could no longer sense her body. Her entire being seemed to have condensed into an idea as she merged into the illusory sea around her. This was her first time directly seeing. Oh shit, she's directly seeing it. This was her first time directly seeing the sea of the collective subconscious without passing through a dream or a mind island. So she can she can see it like on the physical plane. As though she had returned to her mother's embrace before she was born, she returned to the very beginning where her imprints left by human ancestors were being washed away by the tides as they crumbled and were influenced. There were fear, madness, and all kinds of terrifying mental corruption. For a moment, Audrey found it difficult to resist. Her consciousness faded and her body shook as though she was on the brink of melting away. However, the sea nearby wasn't serene. There was a certain degree of undulation spreading in the intense sorrow and pain around. Under such influence, the self-aware Audrey, who was about to be assimilated by the sea of the collective conscience, also began to resonate, generating uncontrollable feelings of grief within her. The grief spread from one thought to another. Soon it was filled with a blob of thoughts that Audrey had mutated into. It pieced through her soul body and pierced her soul. Audrey finally reigned a little of her senses. She skillfully placated herself, constantly giving her cues. Oh, she can placate herself. Duh, I forgot about that. Constantly giving cues to remove the corruption until she regained her senses. The voices in her ears became clearer and clearer, louder and louder. Finally, it reverberated through the sea of collective subconscious. The only escape is tranquility. The only escape is tranquility. The only escape is tranquility. Audrey repeated the prayer as her figure quickly turned clear. With a mere thought, she split herself into many transparent illusory bodies. She traversed through the sea. She split herself into many transparent and illusory bodies. She traversed through the collective subconscious and reached the mind islands that represented different people and stepped onto them. And the places she could clearly see the sadness coming from different people, the bombshells that came from the sky, the airships that made up the fleet, the letters spelling bad news from the seafront lines, blood and flesh splattered in front of them, and the person who they loved suddenly collapsed in front of them. The politoys that no longer had an owner, the fit of coughs that came from the great smog. The only escape is tranquility. This is such a sad chapter. What the fuck? The golden retriever Susie also shut her eyes en masse. She used the human language to recite those words in her heart, but she failed to notice any changes in her surroundings. Suddenly, in her soul, in her body of heart and mind, Audrey's voice sounded. Susie, I succeeded. I've always been worried that I'll become more and more indifferent as my sequence increases due to the potion's effects. That I'll become more and more like a mythical creature instead of a human. Susie raised her head in confusion and saw that although the blonde girl's eyes were tightly shut, tears had unknowingly covered her face. So she's getting sad. Then she heard Audrey say in her heart, thankfully I can still feel their sorrow, how nice. And Susie's eyes, oh, and even Susie's crying. All fucking crying, dude. Even she's crying. In Susie's eyes, teardrops fell from the corners of the blonde girl's eyes. It was crystal clear. At this moment, the sun's final ray of light was swallowed. The night borrowed about tranquility. Everyone opened their eyes and said in the calm voice, the only escape is tranquility. Wow, man, this is such a fucking emotional scene, dude. Just like digesting and ascending your sequence, dude. After crying without restraint, the bright, cheerful Audrey mood became heavy. She became a little sensitive and a little sad. It made everyone who saw her feel a sense of love from the bottom of their hearts. Under all kinds of protection, she returned to the Emperor's Burrow and returned to her room. Only then did she have a chance to seriously examine herself and digest the knowledge and experience she had gained from the sea of collective subconscious. I wonder what we find out. Or I wonder what she can do now. Others might not be able to tell, but Audrey knew very well that the tall, blonde, green-eyed beauty in the mirror already possessed extraordinary strength and exaggerated dragon-steel defenses. She could break through a block of steel with one punch. Oh, I can still use dragon transformation. It's equivalent to using an incomplete mythical creature form. However, I have to wait until I get used to the potion and keep stacking up the correct psychological cues. Otherwise, I can lose control. Every dragon transformation cannot exceed a certain amount of time. Otherwise, even if I have the means to treat my mind and soul, I'll be contaminated by the madness and confusion. Oh, even if you placate it? I'll be contaminated by the madness and confusion, causing me to lose control. My current limit is about a minute. Only a minute? He's really good at bringing out emotions, dude, from readers by showing the life of commoners. Unfortunately, I don't have money to join your YouTube, so I have a question. Do you make a clip for each part of your live, or will all of them be available to watch from the start to end? The core of the power of a manipulator is manipulation. Oh, shit. So Audrey's going to be a manipulator now? Oh, man. That sounds kind of toxic, man. IRL, that sounds a little toxic. When you're with a manipulator, that's a little toxic. I can allow a body of heart and mind to pass through the silly I can allow a body of heart and mind to pass through the sea of collective subconscious and enter another person's mind island. I can directly change their subconscious and read their thoughts, silently driving them to do all sorts of things. Matching manipulation is a virtual persona. I can create many personas, allowing them to have a corresponding body of heart and mind. She can create several personas. This aspect can resist a lot of influence in the mind domain, and on the other hand, it can allow me to use them to silently invade the target's island of consciousness without any signs of it. I currently have only 13 virtual personas. That's very manipulative, definitely manipulative. A manipulator can also create a terrifying mental plague by using, the mental plague, where you spread the plague, right? In the sea collective subconscious. A manipulator can also create a terrifying mental plague by using the silly collective subconscious. I can spread all kinds of mental illnesses and extreme madness. That's so fucking wild. That sounds so broken. Like when you're most vulnerable in your dreams, if you're not prepared, it's GG. Yes, awe has turned into mind deprivation. A huge area of effect version is no longer just a single effect of awe. I can also transform my designated thoughts into a mind storm that will sweep the surrounding, affecting all my enemies. As a manipulator, it naturally comes with the ability to travel the sea collective subconscious. It's called consciousness stroll. Otherwise, my target would have long left by the time I arrived at a location after a series of complicated manipulations. Audrey looked at herself in the mirror and suddenly revealed a faint smile. Then she puffed up her cheeks and opened her mouth as if she was about to spew something. Since her mythical creature form was a mind dragon, it definitely had to have some form of dragon's breath. This was an attack that could directly stimulate and harm the target's body of heart and mind and soul body. It dealt damage in the area of effective manner, an upgraded version of psychic piercing. Oh, I remember psychic piercing. So it's an upgraded version of this. Following that, Audrey's green eyes turned slightly as she looked away. She sighed inwardly. This is what it means to be a demigod. These powers make even me feel afraid. How powerful is Mr. World for him to be able to kill Hyven Rambus? Pretty fucking strong. In the ancient palace above the Great Fog, as the participants of the hunting operation made their preparations, they decided to organize a private gathering to discuss the details. A manipulator is that terrifying. The magician force looked at Miss Justice beside her and blurted out in shock. Oh, she's scared? Just now, Audrey had briefly mentioned the changes she undergone after becoming a demigod. Although she didn't elaborate in detail to protect her trump cards, it still left the magician, the hermit, judgment, and the star in shock. Actually, it's not that terrifying. Mr. Old knows very well. What? Audrey cast her gaze to the bottom of the long model table. Yes, it's scary. The world Grimmersbro did a nod as he tersely acknowledged, I also had powerful helpers before I could kill Hyven Rambus. He paused and said, before discussing the hunting operations, I would like to know how to make the Abraham family sense my friendliness. Like, I need to make sure that I'm friendly. Oh, let's see the author notes. So, the first poem that was recited was adapted from the Lotos Eaters by Tennyson. And the second poem was adapted from The Cry of the Children by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And the third poem that was recited was adapted by The Bridge of Sighs by Thomas Hood and The Lotus Eaters by Tennyson. Oh, it's by the same person. Lotus Eaters by Tencent. Oh, I clearly don't know these poems, but it's cool that this is all like taken from real life. That's pretty cool. I'm like, no, man, they need to know we're friends, man. Chapter 1191 is called Grasping One's Mentality. Everything's updated. Yes. Friendliness. Upon hearing the world Gurman Spro's question, Force nearly dotted her ears. Like, what? Cap. The image of Mr. X's head that was about to be put together better mention them, although sue or put copyright claims. Oh, so I guess that makes sense. Like, you can't just copy it. You have to like, oh, like we're referencing it, or like this comes from this. Like if you're, I assume if you're giving homage, right? Like you rather give homage than to just take and not mention where it's from. Okay. The image of Mr. X's head that was put together, leaving it covered in cracks, crevices, and blood surfaced in her mind. Just as Forrest was deliberating over her words, Audrey glanced at her and smiled at the world Gurmansbro. To let the Abraham family sense your friendliness, it isn't about what you do, but what the Miss Magician writes in her letters. That's right. Unless I appear directly in front of Miss Magician's teacher, his understanding of me will only be limited to the various rumors and things that Miss Magician tells him. As long as the story she tells is good enough, even if it doesn't fit the actual situation, it doesn't matter. Klein suddenly realized that he had been splitting hairs on the question. Forrest was somewhat enlightened by Miss Justice's words, but she didn't fully understand it. After looking at the hermit, the star and company, just as Audrey said to Forrest, you need to convey Mr. World's friendliness to your teacher. For this, you can fabricate some stories and not tell him the truth. Then what should I say? Forrest asked for advice. This wasn't because she wasn't good at making up stories. On the contrary, this was what she was most adept at. However, the problem was that the writing a novel that was well received was different from a story that could convince people. If she could get a senior psychologist advice on the letter, it's like two different things, it would undoubtedly be easier. Audrey had already thought of the details of the letter before she opened her mouth. She replied unhurriedly, it's obvious that your teacher has already noticed that you've rapidly advanced, and because Mr. X is deaf and all sorts of sensitive issues, has a certain level of doubt and vigilance regarding the Beyonder circles that you've participated in. Yes, Forrest nodded indiscriminately in agreement with Miss Audrey's judgment. If her teacher Dorian Gray Abraham was careless, he wouldn't have been able to survive to this day. He would have long been caught by the Aurora Order or died in the hands of other powers who were interested in the Abraham family. Audrey continued, in such a situation, he was still maintaining contact with you. He will teach you knowledge and give you formulas and provide you with ingredients. This shows that on the one hand, he acknowledges your characters and morals, and on the other hand, he will also have a certain level of anticipation for you to obtain important information from the mysterious and dangerous Beyonder circles, as well as you becoming a sequence 4 demigod. That's crazy, man. Are you excited for the demigod battle with Audrey and Katlia? It's not too early. It's coming up. It's happening. It's happening. I know it's happening. No, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see her like use like her dragon skills and maybe do like one punch. Like I need to see Audrey do like one physical punch or like something. Like I need to see her do like one physical attack, and I'll be like, that's badass. This is the mentality we want to exploit. Audrey originally wanted to use the more neutral term grasps instead of exploit, but after pausing, she doesn't want to use exploit, instead she uses grasp. But after pausing for a moment, she chose to face herself directly and face the essence of the matter. With Forrest listening attentively and judgment, the star and the hermit looked forward that she had left to say. Audrey pursed her lips and said, when you return, you can write to him and tell him that you have already become a traveler. Like, I'm already a demigod. It will make him happy for your growth and also be surprised by such an exasperated advancement speed. Then you can answer the question he asked previously, saying that the gentleman who was seeking to purchase the Worm of Star had mentioning something, that the ancient curse in the Abraham family seems to come from a secret existence known as Mr. Door. Oh, shit. No, you're okay. No. Oh, was it already commissioned already? No, yeah, it's already happening. No, it's not too early. No, you're good. This is a question that your teacher has never told you about, but is definitely concerned about. Without a doubt, he will feel fear towards the gentleman who seems to know that you're related to the Abraham family. He will want to avoid you, but he will definitely yearn to know more. Okay, so it's like a double-edged sword. He would then try to find out what secret lies behind the curse that has plagued for generations of Abrahams, one that has no solutions to. At the same time, a letter exchange isn't a direct meeting. It will give him a certain sense of security. He might change his residence, change his identity, and use a more roundabout way to receive the letter, but there is a high chance that he will not sever the connection. Maintain this connection step by step, reveal something more valuable. You will awaken your teacher's desire and use it to portray an image, Mr. World, so that your teacher can experience some form of friendliness. Mr. Door, I'm ready, dude. At this point, Audrey stopped and looked at the world Gurmit Sparrow once again. She could roughly tell that Mr. World's goodwill towards the Abraham family was because he had a request. But as for the specific request, she wasn't a clairvoyant, nor had she read Gurmit Sparrow's mind. Naturally, she couldn't guess it, nor could she continue explaining. Klein nodded and said with a hoarse smile, after we establish this kind of indirect connection, I might ask your teacher for a transaction and use the promise of breaking the curse to exchange for certain items of value. Through Demoness Trissy, because she's still alive, he had already grasped... She's gonna come back. I already know it, man. Through Demoness Trissy, he had already grasped the solution of the Abraham family's curse. However, he didn't plan on exchanging it for the Planeswalker potion formula or a grade 0 sealed artifact. On the one hand, the difference in value was too great, making him feel guilty. On the other hand, he didn't want to bring a dangerous existence like Mr. Door back into the world. That doesn't sound good. It was like being irresponsible to himself and the innocent. He was thinking of another way to make the curse of the Abraham family disappear to a certain extent. In other words, it might still exist, but it wouldn't affect the normal lives of the Abraham family and provide a certain range of improvements. I'll be honest, I forgot what's the exact way to free him. I think we needed blood of different family members. By the way, Easy Trissy didn't fall into a hole. She was described to be transformed into a puddle of blood and gore. No. Are you fucking kidding me? What? Wait, no. I thought there was like a pool of blood like under her, like she got fucked up. But I thought she like, didn't she fall into the abyss or like the chasm of the mausoleum? Yeah, we passed the ritual. The ritual was, yeah, don't worry, Ephraim, we passed that. The ending of the ritual was the end of volume 5. No? Wait, so she actually turned into a puddle of blood and gore? Oh, fuck, it's GG. Wait, it's actually GG? She summoned a meteor, lost control, and blew the fuck up. No. She's alive, dude. Fuck, man. I coped so fucking hard. I actually gaslit myself into believing she fell down the hole. I don't know. Actually, I don't think I know all the names. Wow. I need to go back and listen to that again. What the fuck? I don't remember that part. Oh, shit. It's actually GG. Man, I'm so mad. I really wanted her to be a Terror Club member. I thought she'd be an amazing addition to her Terror Club. I'm like, you have like an evil person, but like it's trying to be righteous at the end, just like for her own personal reasons, not because she wants to be a good person, but like for her own reasons. I'm like, oh, that could be such a fun dynamic. Fuck, man, never mind. But it wouldn't affect the normal lives of the Abraham family. Fuck, I'm so mad now. But it wouldn't affect the normal lives of the Abraham family and provide a certain range of improvements. Is that so? The mid to high sequence beyonders in the mind domain are really impressive. You can make people follow her arrangements without realizing it. Compared to when we first met, Miss Justice had seemed to undergo a complete metamorphosis. It makes people fear and respect her. Forrest glanced at Chio and seemed to read the same poignance through from her eyes. After some thought, she mustered her courage and said to the world, Gurmit Sparrow, what if my teacher rejects your request? Did you think I would murder your property? Forrest lampooned in Chinese. He scoffed and said, don't worry, I won't harm him. I won't use any methods that will force him. Phew, although Mr. World is a little scary, he's still a man of his word. True? Forrest slowly nodded and said, I'll write a letter to my teacher according to Miss Justice's suggestions. Klein nodded slightly and surveyed the area. You can begin discussing the hunt. She got her 5 seconds of redemption in the end. That's enough? Yeah, it's true. Fuck. Damn. I was really gaslighting myself, man. Holy shit. You can begin discussing the hunt. Kylia took control and said, the biggest problem with the operation is finding the Saint of Secrets Baltus. Forrest immediately recalled how she had encountered him and raised her hand. If I can borrow the powerful sealed artifact from my teacher, then I can bring it with me. I can often wander around Backland and use the convergence of the Bionic characteristics to attract Baltus to a nearby location. This might attract other demigods of the Apprentice Pathway, or the leader of the Secret Order Zaratul, or the Blasphemer Amon. The more spoke, the lower her voice became. She felt that this method was too dangerous. She didn't know what would happen to the other members who participated in the operation if Zaratul and Amon really appeared. But as bait, it was, oh yeah, she's bait. But as bait, it was without a doubt that she would fail to escape. Kylia nodded and said thoughtfully, if it's only a grade sealed 1 artifact of the Apprentice Pathway, the law of convergence of Bionic characteristics shouldn't be that attractive to neighboring pathways. The range will be limited to the demigods of the apprentice pathways, and from what I know, there aren't many of them, so we'll be good. In fact, it can be said that there are very few of them. Most of them exist in the form of the characteristics or sealed artifacts. That's such a sad way to live. I suddenly do not wish to become a sequence 4. 4's eyelids twitched when she heard of that. Like, I want to be like that. Katlia cast her gaze at the world Gurman Sparrow. Let's not discuss the problems of whether there are grade 1 sealed artifacts of the apprentice pathway. If we want to let the Saint of Secrets and Miss Magician bump into each other, the prerequisite is that he is also in Backland. He must have been the cautious and often goes about. Upon hearing this, Leonard said from the angel of professional official beyonder, it's actually not difficult. As a demigod of the apprentice pathway, Baltus is definitely in charge of dealing with accidents among the upper echelons of the Aurora Order. He has sufficient mobility to aid the other members in different places. This is a term that appeared on the steam engine at the airships were invented. As long as you can create some matters against the Aurora Order in Backland, he has a high chance of showing up. As he spoke, Leonard glanced at Klein. Based on what he knew in the chaotic battle outside of Bayham City caused by Gerbinsboro, the Saints of Secrets had appeared and picked up a glove. This is the solution. Audrey and company nodded. At this moment, the world said, let me remind you that the Aurora Order is an organization that worships a true god. Once you take action against them and secretly target their upper echelons, the true creator might be able to foresee this and give them a warning. That can happen. Audrey's eyes widened slightly as she observed Katlia, Leonard, and company. She realized that they were equally astonished. This was something that they had never considered before. They never thought about it before. That can happen. It wasn't that they weren't smart enough, but they had never participated in such matters that involved high-level existences before, until today. Or others, even if they were involved, that weren't aware of it. Then what should we do? Force couldn't help but ask. Klein replied in a suggested tone, by not targeting the Aurora Order directly, we can use a modular approach to fish out the Saints. How would you fish them out? By not targeting the Aurora Order directly, we can use a modular approach to fish out Saints of Secrets Baltes, but just fishing him out alone would draw the Aurora Order's attention. Like, oh shit, if our Saint is reacting, shouldn't we keep tabs on him? How the fuck are they going to do that? Chapter 1190 is called Each Serving Their Duty. A modular approach, the Hermit Katlia, who lacked experience. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune, my guy. No, I was like, what is WOF? I was speaking with Goff about creating our character, and when he said Wheel of Fortune, I said, wait, I just spoiled Wheel of Fortune. I was like, no, that's been revealed. The Hermit Katlia, who lacked experience only on high-level matters, instantly had a new idea and probed. Let Miss Magician participate in the various Beyond gatherings in Backland. Oh, let Miss Magician participate in the various Beyond gatherings in Backland, accidentally revealing that she's related to the Abraham family, attract the attention of the Aurora Order. Seeing no objection, the world Germansboro, Katlia thought as she looked to the other side, how can we make this matter appear reasonable without arousing suspicion? Like, how do we make it subtle enough? How to design the steps and procedures needed to expose herself, and how to lay the foundations at each one of the gatherings. They might require your help, Miss Justice. From her point of view, only a manipulator who could accurately grasp the various mentalities of different people at the gathering could allow the scheming to appear natural and reasonable without leaving a trace. All right, Audrey nodded solemnly, feeling somewhat excited. She then added, although I've never done anything similar before, I will try my best to make everything seem reasonable. Why do I suddenly feel a little afraid? Why do I feel like we are inexperienced people? Apart from Mr. World, who cannot directly participate, Ma'am Hermit might be very experienced in other aspects, but she shouldn't have been involved in such hunting before. This isn't a game. It's a cruel act that can kill someone if we aren't careful. Force trembled when she heard this. She had a deep suspicion of her experience of most of the members. This included herself. However, when she thought of how Miss Justice and Ma'am Hermit were already sequence 4 demigods, and that she had the star where at sequence 5, and she had the star where at sequence 5, she felt that this wasn't too serious of a problem. After all, every powerhouse had accumulated their experience over time from nothing. Furthermore, they still had the world Germansboro, the strongest hunter over the 5 seas. Reasonable scheme manipulation. Listening to the conversation between... This is going to be such a good fight, dude. Oh, shit. Listening to the conversation between Ma'am Herbert and Miss Justice, Klein subconsciously extracted the keywords. This reminded him of how he had used 008. I wonder how we're going to use him when we're sequence 1. Like when we're stronger and we can use it for a little bit longer. I wonder what the fuck we're going to do with it, man. Let me raise the volume just a smidge. 008 and the experience of playing out situations that had been arranged by 008. He couldn't help but sigh inwardly. It's no wonder the spectator sequence 1 is called author. This is indeed a very reasonable development, but it can change from a guidance to being forced. Lower the volume a little bit more. to being forced. There's no need to rush yourself to make the arrangements in detail. Go back and think over it carefully. Yes, at the same time, we need to combine the feedback from the scene to make adjustments. Katlia nodded in thought as she immediately had a new idea. When Miss Magician participates in the Beyond Their gatherings, it's best you hide in the vicinity. Use your control over the sea of the collective subconscious to monitor every participant's thoughts and accurately grasp the feedback. Would 13 virtual personas be enough? There should be more than 13 members at a Beyond a Gathering. I can switch to using monitors to select a target to focus on. Audrey quickly analyzed the feasibility of the suggestion and tearfully acknowledged. That wouldn't be an issue. Let me raise the volume a little bit more. That wouldn't be an issue. To her, this was also a form of training. At the same time, it was also a form of acting. She didn't directly use her Beyond her powers to affect the target, but instead used her precise understanding of the target's mental state to manipulate them. The manipulating is throwing me off. Instead, she uses her precise understanding of the target's mental state to manipulate them subtly, by using words, behaviors, and actions and a script, so they don't know. Seeing that there was no problem on Mistress's side, the Hermit Kalia looked at the Magician. In order to prevent a surprise attack and to better grasp your surroundings, I need to plant something on you. What is it? Forrest asked squarely. Katlia glanced at the world as the bottom end of the long model table. After receiving the permission of Mr. World's Bless, she raised her hand and pressed it between her brows. A pair of transparent eyes appeared in front of her. Eyes? Katlia's putting transparent eyes in front of her? Oh, wait. Have you finished? No. Oh, Adam is effing terrifying. Wait, I don't want to know how. I know he's terrifying, but I assume he's terrifying. Efren, oh, you finished it? A pair of transparent eyes. Oh, that's so hype, dude. You finished book 1? Fuck yeah, dude. A pair of transparent eyes appeared in front of her. One that were without eyelashes, looking cold and heartless. Like the Hidden Sage? This is the Eye of Mystery prying. After becoming a mythologist, I can place it on someone else's body. She can place Eyes of Mystery prying onto other people. I can place it on someone else's body. Whatever it sees, it will be what I see. Oh. Furthermore, once it enters a concealed state, it will be very difficult to be discovered through the other means. Katlia gave a simple introduction. So if we conceal it, nobody would know. Upon seeing the scene, Klein leaned back slightly and sighed inwardly. When he first grasped spirit vision, he had sensed something similar behind Old Meal, Hidden Sage's eyes. If he had the mysticism knowledge he had now back then, he would have detected the problem earlier. Perhaps things would have developed differently. Oh. So the Hidden Sage's eyes... Wait. So the Hidden Sage used Eye of Mystery prying on Old Neo at that moment? So whatever Old Neo sees, he sees? Is that what the Hidden Sage did? The first of the pathways are already... Wait, same for every pathway, but yes. Well, I want to read the whole thing because I know you guys are probably talking about book 2, right? Wait, I like how the Spectre Power goes from being able to look at people better to whatever the hell Adam is doing right now. You can't do that because you can feel from what we just read in your mind. If the strange eyes were to be planted on me, would I be watched by Ma'am Hermit when I go to the bathroom? Probably. Forrest secretly drew a cold grass as she hesitantly asked, can we plant it before each gathering? If we make frequent contacts with each other, we'll be easily discovered. Besides, the distinctive secrets wouldn't only appear at times you choose. Katlia nudged the heavy glasses on her nose bridge and explained, don't worry, I won't look at things I shouldn't see. Good for her. It was a lesson learned through blood. Forrest fell silent for a few seconds before she slowly exhaled. All right then. Katlia nodded slightly and continued, after discovering the clues to the Abraham family, the Aurora Order will definitely do a certain amount of investigation, and for safety, so as to prevent any actions from happening, they will definitely send out someone with a certain level of confidence among them to the Saints of Secrets Baltus, and is undoubtedly the person who is mostly interested in the matter regarding the Abraham family. In addition, Backlund isn't suitable for a King of Angels main body to be active in, so the probability of him appearing is the highest. At this moment, the star Leonard, who was leaning against the back of his chair, raised his hand and said, not necessarily. According to the information we have gathered, the Aurora Order has other high-ranking members in Backland. Saint Tenebros, after Mr. A disappeared, he came forward to the organized certain matters. When the time comes, the person responsible for tracking the clues to the Abraham family might very well be him, not the Saint of Secrets. After all, this is his diocese. The demigod I met when I assassinated Mr. X... Who was it? When we killed Mr. X? The demigod I met when I assassinated Mr. X was Saint Tenebros. I don't remember this person. Saint Tenebros? Klein nodded in enlightenment without bringing any... I know the name, but I don't remember who it was. Saint Tenebros. Klein nodded in enlightenment without bringing any intention to himself. Holy shit, I'm forgetting people now. Saint Tenebros. Katlia was already preparing for this. Without any hesitation, she said to the star, "This might require your help. In the near future, you should investigate more cases involving the Aurora Order and strike at them more. This way, it will be inconvenient for them to move around. After discovering clues about the Abraham family, they might very likely seek reinforcements, getting, yes, the more mobile and the more concealed stains of the secrets to be responsible for it." Leonard thought of his recent mission list and nodded slightly. Sure, as the captain of the Red Gloves team, he had the right to do so. The only problem is, could it be that this predicted by the true creator? Predicted by the true creator? That was the saint from the Aurora Order that split in half in the Sea of Ruins. Oh, from way back then. Oh, from Volume 3. Got it. The one that had like the good and bad one? The good and bad persona? That was the saint from the Aurora Order that split in half in the Sea... Oh, that's split in half in the Sea of Ruins. Yeah? Okay, got it. Yeah, I remember the evil entity, or like the evil half of him. Oh, shit. I forgot that was him. What the fuck? Wow, that was so... Volume 3 was so long ago at this point. After Leonard agreed, he turned to look at Klein. After some thought, Klein pointed out indirectly, "You are similarly under the gaze of a deity." Huh? Leonard retracted his gaze as though he had gained some understanding. He said to the hermit Katlia, "I have no further questions." The hermit Katlia raised her glasses and cast her gaze towards the judgment. By the way, can't wait for the full gambit. I'm ready. Wait, whatever that means. Wait, hold up. The full gambit? Are we going to be gambling or something? We will try our best to limit this beyond our circles to the Mist Magician. We will be involved in Eastboro and the Backland Bridge area. These should be places you are familiar with. You have to constantly be aware of any abnormalities. Inform me immediately about the surroundings of the gathering's locations. Alright. Although Shia was disappointed that Shia was involved in the periphery matters, she knew very well that this was her strength. She could only do so much. At the moment, Katlia thought for a moment before saying, "You are a judge. When the time comes, you might need to be some area of an effect prohibition. This might not be effective against the Saints of Secrets, but it should be able to cause some interference. Don't doubt it, as support mid-sequence beyonders can similarly influence a saint to a certain extent. All of this is under the premise of a demigod resistance, a demigod wall. All I provide is support. The education Shio had received since she was so young, and the addition of knowledge she had learned from MI9 now puts an emphasis on cooperation. It was very easy to understand what Ma'am Herbert was saying. At this point, the plan had just started taking form. The next steps was about to adjust it bit by bit through on the ground of feedback. For received a sigh of relief when she suddenly thought of something. She hurriedly said, "Previously, Mr. World mentioned that Bautis might have a grade 0 sealed artifact. How should we deal with it?" Frankly speaking, she didn't have a direct impression of how terrifying grade 0 sealed artifacts was. This was because she had never encountered one before and had never seen anyone encounter it before. However, she had experienced a grade 0 sealed one artifact that German Sparrow had borrowed from Mr. Fool. She knew how terrifying it was, and with a grade 0 sealed artifact being one grade higher than a grade 1 sealed artifact, it was obvious how potent one was. And the rumors that Forrest had heard some grade 0 sealed artifacts could even destroy Backland or even the world? Yes. I remember the probability a die was able to like scan the whole world over time or at some point. Not the guy from Volume 3. Saint Tenebros is another one from the Aurora Order we haven't seen yet. Sorry. Oh, okay. Saint Tenebros is someone we haven't met yet. Okay. Not the guy from Volume 3. Got it. Is Klein able to make other shit? Wait, I don't know. Wait, I don't want to read that just yet. Just in case, Efren. I don't know. Wait, hold up. I don't know what that was. I'll stop reading just in case it was a spoiler, or just in case I don't know yet. Katlia said after, because I read 0 and I don't know something Klein 0. Katlia said after a few seconds of silence, on the one hand, through Miss Justice's grasp of the minds of people around you, she will be able to find traces of possible existences. On the other hand, with Miss Judgment's understanding of the various anomalies in the region and combining it with divinations, we will be able to determine ahead of time if there are any sealed artifacts. If we can't get any feedback from all of it, and if we Saints of Secrets have a grade 0 sealed artifact with him, you don't have to be too afraid. He won't kill you immediately. He will definitely try to gain control of you and interrogate you at that. Klein is at least sequence 3 right now? Yeah, definitely. Dude, he's Scholar of Yore, man. That's fucking crazy. We have enough time and opportunities to separate him from the sealed artifacts. Remember, a sealed artifact that a Beyonder possesses isn't completely a part of his strength. During this process, didn't you record some high-level Beyonder powers? If the situation is critical, don't hold back and try your best to escape. Sounds like you're not very confident either. They're all not very confident. Sounds like you're not very confident either. Force's face suddenly turned pale as she forced a smile. I'll try my best. At this point, the World Government Sparrow took the initiative to speak. In times of the necessity, praying to Mr. Fool, I will also ask him to provide his protection in advance to provide some revelations. As this operation would impose a threat to Klein's actual body regardless of development, and it might involve a grade 0 sealed artifact, he could only gain some revelations from his initial control of Sephira Castle. That's good. For Shu and company heaved a sigh of relief. When the private gathering was coming to an end, Klein glanced at Ketley and said, "It looks like there is no way for you to end the operation before the new year. I'll provide you with the advancement payment." He then condensed some of the mysticism knowledge he had never mentioned into a pale white brilliance and pushed it to the hermit. All right, next chapter. Wait, so just to be sure, Klein is still trying to get his real body back, right? That's back at the chasm where Shinobu was. Like, that's still our goal. Like, Klein didn't just forget that. We just have to do all this in order to get ready to advance, and then we get our body back. No? Like, we don't need it anymore. What? Like, the body he left behind. Yeah, and like, no, I know he revived, but because he revived at a fake spawn point through to the blood, we don't necessarily need the old body back. Right, just to be sure, using his blood. I know he uses blood to spawn at a different point, but we don't need the new body. Like, I mean, our new body is still good. Because I remember the whole point back then, new body. Okay, new body, we're good. Like, we don't need the old body for anything else. Yes, okay. I wanted to clarify that. Okay. Because why would he need his body now? I know he doesn't need it technically, but I was like, I wonder if some way, shape, or form, like he'd still want to get it back. Like, at least to get all his items back. But I don't know, man. I feel like being in danger with Amon again, I don't think it'd be worth it. It's not worth it, right? Because he gets his old body back to get creeping hunger and gets all his old items back. But I feel like the bad outweighs the good. Yeah, never mind. I'll shut up. The bad clearly outweighs the good. Yeah, next chapter. You're right. He probably already took all his shit. Yeah, you're fucking right. Wasn't Creeping Hunger scared as fuck when he was trying to like tinker with him? Yeah, you're right. He probably took all this shit and left. All right, next chapter, man. Chapter 1193. It's called Heading East. I'm a count def. Climb probability according to easy. I'm a court def. Climb probability according to easy. Nah, yeah, you're right. He shouldn't do that. Chapter 1193 is called Heading East. Dark Angel Sasir might very well be the negative personality that's expelled from the ancient sun god. Mr. Dorrit was once the most powerful kings of angels. The Abraham family also possesses at least 2 grade 0 sealed artifacts. That's the level of an angel, the apprentice pathway. The underlying rules of this world are chaos and madness. Chaos and madness? Pieces of mysticism knowledge that resonated in Katlia's mind, causing her to feel weighed down in addition to her shock. If it wasn't for the Terror Club, Mr. Fool's protection, and the World Government Sparrow's help, she believed that it wouldn't be easy for her to... Let me skip because the music's over. It wouldn't be easy for her to obtain such knowledge. She definitely had to take a tremendous risk in exchange. If she wasn't careful, she would attract her attention of a certain high-level existence or embroiled in madness and pain. Thank you for your advancement payment. This was greatly helping me digest the potion. Katlia opened her eyes and thanked him sincerely. According to her original plan, she believed that she would be able to gain some mysticism knowledge after meeting Queen Mystic. With Gurman Sparrow's current advancement payment, her mystologist potion would most likely be completely raised in the volume, be completely digested. Unfortunately, a few days before she arrived in Backland, Queen Mystic Burn that had left the city to trace the lead. This left Katlia extremely disappointed. Upon hearing Man Hermit's words, Klein, who was pretending to be the world, laughed hoarsely. A price... I'm going to raise the volume because you guys can't hear it. You guys can't hear the music. There you go. As his voice echoed, he nodded at the two ladies, Justice and the magician, indicating that he was also directing those words at him. After the private gathering ended, it's over, and the members left Sephira Castle one by one, Klein stood up and walked to the back seat of honor from the bottom of the end of the long model table to the seat belonging to the fool. He leaned back into his chair and propped his elbows on the armrest as the void beside him rippled and formed halos. They were prayer lights that came from the puppets controlled by the historical projection that Klein had summoned. They had existed before gathering, but the corresponding areas had been hidden from the rest, so no one could sense it. It was probably now restored to normal. He cast his gaze at the rippling light and expanded his vision into the distance. In the real world, a dark mountain stood erect. There was a mountain hole at the mountainside that extended downwards. This was a one place that hid many humans who had survived the cataclysm, but they were later turned into the dark demonic wolf culture's marionettes. Damn. During this, all of them were turned into marionettes. Damn. Should I remove it? Is it if not spoiler? I won't read it just in case. Just in case it is a spoiler. If there is a spoiler, I won't read it. During this period of time, no, you're okay, Efren. During this period of time, Klein kept tracing the clues and found the 3 spots where the dark demonic wolf had hidden himself. However, Klein didn't gain much more of them. The reason was simple. Just like now, there was a rock in the cave. On it sat a young man wearing a classical black robe. Amon? The reason was simple. Just like now, there was a rock in the cave. On it sat a young man wearing a classical black robe, a pointed hat, and a broad forehead, a thin face, Amon. The Angel of Time seemed to sense the gaze from Sephira Castle, and he's looking at him as he raised his head and adjusted his crystal monocle. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Klein retracted his gaze, his facial muscles twitched slightly as he muttered, "What a haunting presence. It's not like this fellow doesn't understand the dark demonic wolf's past. Is there a need..." Whoa, the music is really loud. Sorry, let me lower it. Is there a need for him to destroy all the clues I need? Furthermore, he only comes slightly earlier than me every single time. If it wasn't because he was in Amon's match, he really wanted to hang him up and beat him. Ain't gonna happen for a while. Few, Klein exulted, and Mila returned to the real world. He wore a black top hat and carried a dim yellow lantern. He dispelled his maintaining of the historical projection, and without looking back, he left the mountain and ventured deep into the silent wilderness. There was no hesitation in his footsteps, as he had already obtained detailed information about the dark demonic wolf Kotor from the Evernight goddess. He was well aware of the character styles and the habits of the god of wishes. The reason why he was still searching for the dark demonic wolf's past was mainly because he wanted to verify the information. After all, the East continent had been in the forsaken lands of the gods for more than 2,000 years. The dark demonic wolf had escaped the Evernight goddess's attention for a sufficiently long period of time, so it was very likely that some abnormalities and those thousands of years, likely some abnormalities and changes in character would occur. Yeah, who wouldn't fucking change? If he made a plan following the intelligence provided by the Evernight goddess, there was a small chance that he would make the mistake of launching a surgical strike using the outdated map. Outdated map? We've seen the map. Oh, the outdated map from like where he went all those years ago. Under the tremendous pressure of the true creator and Amon, the chances of the dark demonic wolf transforming isn't low. Perhaps it has even turned abnormal or half mad because of the excess stress. Klein couldn't help but lampoon inwardly. The words dark demonic wolf actually be switching. Let me change the music. The words dark demonic wolf could actually be switched to Klein Moretti. The words dark demonic wolf could actually be switched to Klein Moretti or Zoe McGreary ad verbatim. It just needs to be said in future tense. The other reason for this persistence in pursuing the dark demonic wolf's past was that he was trying to fool Amon, making it difficult for him to guess that he had already grasped the key information. I can't even comprehend that. The other reason for his persistence in pursuing the dark demonic's wolf past was that he was trying to fool Amon, making it difficult for him to guess that he had already grasped the key information. Okay? He's trying to learn something before he anticipates that he knew? Of course, this might not be able to deceive the god of the state. I don't think it's going to work. His main goal was to obtain a victory of his mind so as to adjust his mental state that was overly stressed. So if he can mentally make him believe that he won in his mind, it will adjust his mental state that was overly stressed. This allowed him to reduce the frequency at which he sought Miss Justice's treatment. Well, from the looks of it, the dark demonic wolf still maintains its clarity and rationality in the late second epoch. It wasn't as violent as it when it first fused with other bionic characteristics, bloodthirsty crazy. His most important personality appears to not have changed. Ever so suspicious, he doesn't even trust his own marionettes. You don't trust your own marionettes? Once he decides to migrate, he would leave all his marionettes that he had before and sever all his connections? What? Also, the dark demonic wolf seems to have migrated from the east over here. As he thought about it, Klein came to an abrupt stop. Under the darkness that would void the stars of the crimson moon, he cast his gaze in a particular direction by relying on his spiritual intuition. His expression gradually turned solemn as he raised his right hand and pressed on his silk top hat. He then adjusted his direction. He was headed in and was walking towards where his eyes were trained at. That was the east. In the endless darkness, the lantern in his hand cast a lonely shadow. His trench coat was almost the same color as the distant night as his footsteps quickened. Backlund Emperor's Boar inside the Hall family luxurious mansion. Audrey sat in front of the dress table and began to seriously consider how to release the bait in a seemingly reasonable fashion. During this process, he suddenly thought of something that if she wanted to go near beyond a gathering and monitor the thoughts of her participants, there was a lack of quick and efficient methods. As a sequence 4 demigod, she neither could fly nor teleport. She also couldn't use the flames to jump secretly. It would be fine if it was later at night, but if she wanted to use dreams as a springboard, she could only rely on her feet during the day and evening. Oh, actually, my speed isn't slow, but if I were to run faster in a steam train, I would definitely attract attention. There are so many powerhouses in Backlund, so there's no lack of existences that can see through my psychological invisibility. Similarly, in my dragon form, I can fly. We've known that she can fly, right? Well, we've known she would eventually fly. Similarly, in my dragon form, I can fly, but that's just too eye-catching. Currently, I can only let my consciousness and spirit body enter the sea collective subconscious while I'm able to bring my body in. As she pondered about the matter, Audrey could only consider the purchasing sealed artifacts or mystical items that had been traveling powers while deciding to travel through the dream if there were dreams. Otherwise, she could only rely on walking, carriages, or the metro. What a simple demigod, huh? It's no wonder the full name is half human, half god. What a simple demigod, huh? It's no wonder the full name is half human, half god. Those terrifying beyond our powers are the godly side of things, while these are the human side of things. Audrey gave up a self-deprecating laugh and reined in her thoughts. Backlund Hillston Borough. Sitting beside the fireplace, Forrest opened a book that was propped on her thigh as a platform for her to write. Holding a pen in her hand, she stared at is it the letter for her teacher? Holding a pen in her hand, she stared at the horizontal lines on the paper of the tarot cards that were scattered on the ground for a long time. What's wrong? You don't want to lie to your teacher. No, everything you write will be the truth. You don't want to set up your teacher. Sheila walked over, crouched down, and looked up at Forrest in her eyes. Forrest shook her head. No, it's not because of this. I do feel a little guilty, but I know that this is a good thing for the Abraham family. I'm just hesitating. I keep feeling that our destinies will change after writing this letter. Subtle foreshadowing. Sheila was a little stunned when she heard that. She didn't quite understand what her good friend meant. Forrest let out a sigh and said, the battles from the past and now were actually not that dangerous for us. We had the ability to avoid it and obtain the corresponding resonance to continue our peaceful lives. Therefore, my feeling for them don't run deep. We're like people standing beside a torrent. We could have watched everything go by safely, but after writing this letter, we might perhaps be swept into the torrent. Sheila listened quietly. She opened her eyes and pursed her lips. If not for this, do you think we can avoid the torrent of fate? As she spoke, she picked up a tarot card from the ground. The surface of the card depicted an angel blowing at the trumps of the deceased, judgment card. Forrest looked at the deck of the tarot clips for a while before closing her eyes. She pulled her hair back and smiled. I understand. This is an inevitable destiny. After praying to Mr. Fool and after obtaining the magician card, it was an unavoidable destiny. The fountain pen in Forrest's hand finally landed on the ladder. Okay, now we're at Prince Harbor. Dorian Gray Abraham, who had long left the Fishermen's Association and changed his identity, tore open a letter sent by his student. He's going to read it. As he quickly browsed through it, his expression went from shock, joy, and confusion to horror. Bang. Dorian threw away the letter in his... Oh, he threw it. Dorian threw away the letter in his hand and knocked down the table in front of him. It was like a monster hiding on the piece of paper with a curse. He retreated to another corner, pulled open a drawer, and took out some items. Then he rushed to the door and prepared to leave. When his right hand touched the brass doorknob, Dorian's action suddenly slowed down and finally stopped. What the fuck is he feeling? He slowly turned around and cast his gaze at the letter on the ground. There was a complicated look in his eye. After a few seconds, Dorian Gray slowly walked towards the letter. He walked with hesitation, feeling the dilemma and struggles, but he didn't stop. It was as if he had been seduced by the devil. It was as he was seduced by the devil? I'm sorry. Is that hinting at him losing control? Because he's going through so many emotions that he can't control it? Oh, that's gonna be fucked up. No, I hope that doesn't happen. We've been with him for so long, dude. What the fuck? Oh, here, let's read the next chapter. Oh, almost closed my notes. Oh, that would have been bad. Hey, Hope. If Forrest was the devil, I guess it wouldn't be that mad if we were seduced. You know what I mean? I know what you mean. You know what I mean? I know what you mean, dude. All right, man. Like I asked about the Fate Siphon. Okay. All right. Got it. Am I getting a phone call? I thought I was getting a phone call. Easy can't relate to being seduced by the devil. He only acknowledges demon ends. I have no idea what you're talking about, Mick. I will neither just how you guys tell me, I will neither confirm nor deny. I will neither confirm nor deny. Also because my girl is watching. I love you, babe. I think she's watching. Maybe she's not watching this part. But chapter 1000... I'll just shut up. Let's fucking keep reading. I love you, babe. Chapter 1194 is called A Lion's Hunt of a Rabbit. Finally, Dorian stopped beside the letter. He bent down and reached out his right hand. His fingers trembled as he grabbed the edge of the paper and picked it up. This time, Dorian was very careful. He began reading each word, one after another, from the very beginning. Sometimes he was enlightened, sometimes confused, sometimes puzzled, sometimes in pain. The letter Forrest had sent wasn't long. He only used 3 minutes to read it twice before he fell into a long silence. All it took was 3 minutes? Imagine if one of us chatters or freaking commander was actually... You know what's crazy? I think I can honestly see my girl disguising herself as somebody else that's been frequently chatting. And then it's like, it was her the whole time and I just didn't know it. And maybe she's just acting as a viewer. I really feel like she'd do that and she just hasn't told me yet. Because I've never seen her stream name. I've never seen her YouTube name pop up. So I know she hasn't commented yet. But I know she watches sometimes. The sunlight shined through. I'm like, she probably has like a secret YouTube account that she's watching from. And she'll like leave a comment. But that's just me like theorizing. That's me overthinking. So she's definitely acting. Acting as the audience. She's definitely spectating, dude. The sunlight, she's definitely being the manipulator right now. Where she's like manipulating me into believing that she's not watching or not chatting. The sunlight shined through the window and landed on the toppled door. Dorian Gray Abraham's lips suddenly quivered, but he ultimately didn't make a sound. Separated by a piece of paper, his right thumb and index finger quickly rubbed against each other and ignited the letter with a scarlet flame. After doing all this, Dorian packed his belongings and put on his disguise, changed his clothes, and left the rented apartment. Using the identity he had previously prepared, he went to another place. After settling down, he sat beside the desk and stared at the brass ornament, seemingly in deep thought. The air became darker and darker as the sunlight weakened. Dorian's eyelids twitched as he slowly sighed. He then unfolded the piece of paper and picked up the fountain pen. As he pondered, he wrote, "I'm very happy to see you digest the scribe potion in a few months. This means that you might really become a demigod. There are key points to take note of while acting as a traveler, at least the one thing I know of. How have you remember that everyone's personality is different? There will always be some differences in acting in real life, so you can't copy blindly. This doesn't mean that the acting principle of the others are wrong, but that it might lead to a huge conflict in your heart, affecting your mental state. Sometimes you can make appropriate adjustments to slow down the speed at which the potion is being digested, but it will only be beneficial to you. You have to remember, acting is a tool, not something to lord over you, okay? I look forward to the day you complete the digested traveler potion. I will prepare the corresponding ingredients and present to you." Well, he sounds very different in his letter. "I'm very interested in the matter of the Abraham family curse mentioned by the gentleman. I think you should have noticed a long time ago I have done a certain degree of research on such matters. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask me about such matters. I hope you can continue to learn about this matter at a deeper level. After writing this reply, Dorian Gray Abraham closed his eyes and quickly folded the paper. Well, he sounds very calm. He sounds very calm in this letter compared to how he actually felt. After writing the reply, Dorian Gray Abraham closed his eyes and quickly folded the paper. January 3rd, 1351. Backland New Year was much bleaker than before. In a basement in Westboro, there were a few candles flickering with yellow flames, illuminating the surrounding altar chairs and round tables. At the edge of the light, in a place that was extremely dark, a figure appeared indistinct. At times it would sway, sometimes stretching into a thin entity that didn't have any thickness. It was like a shadow that came alive. Suddenly, the figure said in a deep voice, "You arrived earlier than expected." Okay. Besides the candle, a figure quickly appeared in the spot illuminated by the greatest by the light. It was a man dressed in a mysterious black robe. mysterious black robe. His brown hair was slightly curled, and his dark, deep eyes seemed to contain countless objects. Let me skip this. I feel like Lumiere is a little bit strong right here. He was none other than the one of the... Oh, shit, it's him. He was none other than one of the saints of the Aurora Order, the Saint of Secrets, Bautis. Bautis smiled and said, to me, distance is not a problem. He pulled a chair and sat down before saying to the long and narrow shadow, have you investigated thoroughly? Did you find anything unusual? He said that nearly slinked into the shadows, answered in a low voice, there aren't any problems, really. At the confirmation of the question, Bautis instinctively had doubts. Kizma, could this be a trap? The Aurora Order Saint Tenebros. Kizma slowly shook his head and said, that's cool. Two saints are talking. Where are all his girlfriend personas? Didn't I just say she can have like 13 personas? Plot twist, all of us are actually avatars of her girlfriend and you actually get 0 viewers. She's just been so supportive this whole time that she chats on 24 different accounts. That I'd actually respect that. I would respect that she's been keeping up that act for so long. Kizma slowly shook his head and said, the target is very careful. It's definitely not a case of deliberate exposure. If she wasn't seeking to purchase an ancient Wraith's cursed item, we wouldn't have been able to sense that she might be related to the Abraham family. Saint of the Eaker's Bautis seems to be in thought and said, an ancient Wraith cursed item. This is one of the main ingredients of the scribe. I remember that the Abraham family does have a spare of Asman's brain. They aren't willing to directly provide a scribe beyond a characteristic, hoping to carry out some tests. It's indeed the style of the Abraham family. Put simply, they don't have enough trust in others. Saint Tenebros Kizma didn't echo Bautis' words as he continued. Even if she was seeking to purchase the main ingredients of the scribe potion, we would have noticed any problem. After all, not every believer knows the corresponding mysticism knowledge, but she even mentioned some questions related to the apprentice and Abraham's. 13 personas at sequence 4, so she's like 3 or sequence 2. Oh, so she's high up there. Yeah, by that knowledge, she's pretty high up there. She was really cautious in this aspect. The circle of the Beyonders from which she sought to purchase materials from, and one, oh my god, my back. The circle of Beyonders from which she sought to purchase materials from the one she asked questions weren't the same. Different matters were left to different circles. Furthermore, at times she would hire other participants to help her make requests. If it weren't for the fact that we have our people in those few circles and were able to combine the intelligence, we wouldn't have noticed her. Saints of Secrets, so it's like, okay, so it sounds believable. Saints of Secrets Bots is not slightly and asked, why didn't you just take action? You even came to me. And the shadows of darkness stirred and replied slowly. The situation in Backland is getting more and more intense. The Nighthawks, the Mandated Punchers, the Machinery Hive Mind are carpet sweeping the area, one spot after another. We're being watched very closely. If I were to handle the matter, it would be fine if it weren't any accidents. However, if an accident were to happen, I might not be able to escape due to not having grazed a secrets sorcerer. Besides, aren't you one of the ones who is most interested in the Abraham family? Bautis chuckled and said, I'm not interested in them at all. Fucking cap. I just want them all to die. Holy shit, dude. I just want them all to die. To ensure my own safety, the most important thing is to nip revenge in the bud. This is the philosophy I abide by. Oh, he's a very sophisticated philosopher, I see. Good for Bautis. As he spoke, the Saints of Secrets took out a crystal ball from his black-robed pocket. The crystal ball was neither clear nor translucent, as if he had been injected with a dark night. Good movie. As he touched it with his palm, his lips quivered. The strange crystal ball suffused a resplendent glow. They were like stars that slowly spun, forming a complicated scene. It's still acceptable. Bautis looked at the crystal ball in his right hand and nodded gently. He then looked at the ghostly shadow. Give me the detail. When he learned that there would be a Beyond gathering in a particular circle tonight, with the target possibility appearing the Saints of Secrets, Bautis stood up and said to the Saint Tenebros Kizma, I need to make some preparations. As soon as he finished speaking, his right hand opened, and with a gentle lift, his fingers closed. The region he was in immediately wrapped and vanished. The candles, flames, and rotten T-bone chairs that were originally located here vanished, leaving behind only the tiles and ceilings. All that disappeared. After a while, the shadows moved and everything returned to normal. Nothing happened to the Saints of Secrets Bautis, but Saint Tenebros' figure appeared out of the darkness. He looked at Bautis and said in a deep voice, your caution has exceeded the necessary limit. Is that good or bad? Your caution has exceeded the necessary limit, but this isn't a bad thing. I hope that I can resolve the problem without anyone noticing. Bautis replied with a smile. You can follow me. You can hide in the shadows as my support. I'm sorry. 2 saints? So it's not just Bautis. We're going to have another saint hiding in the shadows. You can hide in my shadows as my support. You will not directly appear, and you will leave immediately once you discover anything amiss. Ah. All right, Saint Tenebros Kisma. I'm sorry. Saint Tenebros Kisma is going to be in the shadows? What the fuck? Saint Tenebros Kisma slowly walked out of the shadows. He looked young and handsome without outstanding facial features, but his face seemed to be covered with a faint curtain of darkness. After coming close to Bautis, there was a series of illusory chewing sound that came from nowhere. The chewing sounds and the sounds of digesting could be heard, as well as the undistinguished evil and hunger. This made the demigod shudder involuntarily. Saint Tenebros' eyes froze for a second as he cast a shocked and surprised look at Bautis' face. The corners of Bautis' mouth curled up as he revealed a rather cruel smile. After a few seconds later, one of them used teleportation and the other merged into the shadows and left the house. Oh shit, man. Educating a child for 9 months, going through hell labor, looking at the cute baby labor boy in the face, and then with small naming him fucking Bautis. Just why? I was like, what are you trying to say, Hope? And then you just name it fucking Bautis. Get fight music. Shut the fuck up. Read it. All right, we'll get boss music ready. Oh shit, fight music. No, shut up. Do you want to know? Oh, well, I actually didn't finish reading it. Do you want to know who what is? Do I want to know who what is? Okay. All right. If that was a spoiler, I didn't read it. I was almost gonna read it, but I didn't read it. I literally read. Do you want to know? Gets deleted. You're so quick, Cammy. An apartment that had been in despair for years in the area intersecting Backland's East Borough at the bridge area. There were a few rooms on the first floor of a cheap motel that had their rooms connected. When Bautis walked out of the spirit world, the Beyonders gathering was only held 2 to 3 hours later. No one had arrived yet. He looked around and took in the long tables that were arranged messily. After observing the environment, he walked to a corner with his right hand pulling the curtain. The region was enveloped by shadows, distorting before vanishing. This was because this wasn't anything there to begin with. There were no objective measures, so no one would have discovered that there was a space missing. They would only feel that the distance between the walls and themselves was a little closer, but upon closer inspection, everything was normal. This was the space concealment power of a secret sorcerers. Oh shit. All right, I'll shut up. No, it's okay. I didn't read it. If it was a spoiler, I didn't read it. So it's all good. No harm done. They could use this ability to split a place into two and conceal part of it. But thank you for your enthusiasm. No, it's okay, dude. They could use this ability to split a place into the two and conceal part of it. One had to use a specific door to enter. At that moment, in the area that had been divined and hidden, the room existed normally. There were floor tiles, a ceiling, and a cockroach crawling across the ground. A cockroach crawl. Is Amon watching? And a cockroach crawling around the ground. A cockroach rushed to the boundary and was blocked by an endless darkness. After Saints of Secret Bautis surveyed the area, his gaze paused as a transparent vortex in midair. This was the door. Every hidden space would definitely have a door. After some thought, Bautis reached into the black robe's pocket, took out a mirror, and inserted it into the door. The mirror twisted and quickly reflected the scene and the outside world. A specific door, perhaps a specific mystery door. I don't think it's that. That'd be cool, though. Would it? Very specific door. Maybe that was actually a little on the nose and I just didn't catch up on that. There were chairs and long tables randomly strewn around. The place was empty. In this way, Bautis used the mirror to monitor the Beyonders gathering venue. Seconds changed to minutes as Beyonders dressed in various disguises arrived. One of the hooded figures habitually chose a corner near the window. She took out a that's clearly forged. She took out a palm-sized notebook and casually flipped through a few pages, as though she was revising the main points of her questions or checking if she fully prepared. And behind her to the side, there was an ordinary mirror embroiled in the wall. So is that Force hiding herself? Grade 0? Oh, shit. Oh, okay, we're going straight into the next chapter. All right, chapter 1195 is called Grade 0. In the region that had been concealed, the Saints of Secrets Bautis narrowed his eyes slightly as he recognized Layman's travels. This made him no longer have any doubts about the intel provided by Saint Tenebros Kisma. He recognized this notebook and knew that it was a mystical item that the Abraham family placed great importance on. It was one of the most powerful items. Let me read this. In the region that had been concealed, the Saint of Secrets Bautis narrowed his eyes slightly and recognized Layman's travels. He's like, I want that back. This made him no longer have any doubts about the intel provided by Saint Tenebros Kisma. He recognized this notebook and knew that it was a mythical item and the Abraham family placed great importance on. It was one of the most powerful items. Wow, it's one of the most powerful items below the high sequences, and the negative effects were negligible. Back when I was a mid-sequence Beyonder, I had yearned for this notebook so much. In the end, the Abraham family was wary of me and didn't place any importance on my needs at all. Now they have learned their lesson. This woman shouldn't be a descendant of the Abraham family. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gone around searching for the cursed item of an ancient wraith. Bottas muttered inwardly as the expression gradually turned grim, showing hints of a cruel fervor. Is he jealous? After observing his surroundings for a while, he carefully reached into his black robe pocket. The pocket seemed to contain a vast space of Saints of Secrets. Bottas dragged out a 3-layer jewelry box from within. The jewelry box wasn't tiny, making it difficult to hold it with one hand. It was mainly a silver black in color, and its surface was covered with exquisite decorations. There were rubies, emeralds, sapphires, and diamonds, all the Pokemon games. Emeralds in it, making it look rather luxurious. No wonder it's luxurious. As he held the jewelry box in his hand, there was a hint of panic and fear in expression. It was as if he was facing the abyss or listening to an evil god's ravings. Okay. The gathering continued as usual. Force put away layman's travels and focused on listening to the participants as though she was seeking some answers. Oh, and then Katlia is observing the whole time through the eyes that have been concealed. So Bottas doesn't know that Katlia is observing, and if Katlia is observing, everybody else has tabs on him. Oh, that's cool. During this process, she would occasionally ask questions using gold pounds and spiritual materials as payments. However, she didn't receive any effective answers. Gradually, the Beyonder gathering came to an end. The host arranged for different participants to leave from different exits, just like the other ones. Change music when you read after receiving the signal of the host. Okay. Oh, it's literally the next sentence. After receiving the signal of the host. Are you guys fucking ready? We have received the signal of the host. So now we're going to change the music. Force stood up and resisted the urge to stretch herself as she walked towards the side of the door. Let me make sure the song is looped. At this moment, she realized that her body had stiffened. Oh shit, it's Bottas. Her head could barely turn, but it felt like she was a toy that had its torsion spring wound up. I read that wrong. From the corner of her eye, she saw the grayish-white walls that had turned slivery black in an instant. They were covered in granules, as though they were made of metal. The remaining participants and the host had their skin loose, the luster they should have possessed. Their eyes were dull. Their movements were mechanical, as if they were large dolls. Oh shit, everybody. And the concealed area, Bottas had opened the jewelry box at some point in time. The interior of its top layer wasn't exquisite enough, but it had completely restored the scene of the room. In the room, there were chairs and long tables scattered haphazardly. There were a few palm-sized puppets sitting and standing, as though they were trying to stimulate reality. Among these people, the person standing was wearing a hooded robe. The shape of her chin was beautiful, and her lips were plump and red. It was none other than Force. She and the remaining Beyonders, together with the gathering host, had silently become toys. So all the other Beyonders in the gathering became like the random assorted toys, and then Force is just standing there. They had been taken into the highest layer of the jewelry box. The highest layer of the jewelry box? Whoa, okay. The room that connected into an external world was only left with a grayish white walls, nothing else. The corners of Bottas' lips curled up a bit. With the highest right hand, he closed his lid of the jewelry box. In just a single breath, he had magically controlled his target. The entire room got taken. Yeah, so everybody got sucked into the jewelry box. Need me a Force toy right now? Like a Figma? You need a Figma? The silver black 3-layer jewelry box was it's a grade 0 sealed artifact that had been snatched from the Abraham family. So it allows you to snatch people into a toy box or a jewelry box. As if it had never been obtained by the Orthodox churches, nor was it ever deeply understood. It didn't even have a corresponding number. Oh shit, just grade 0. No one knows its number, bruh. According to what Bottas knew, this jewelry box originated from an Abraham family angel from the 4th epoch. He enjoyed roaming the cosmos and heading to different places in the vast universes. However, once when he returned to his family to rest, he died silently in his palace. He just died? Shut up, I'm not joking. Oh, I didn't read anything. There's a spoiler, I didn't read it. No explaining. Oh yeah, no leading questions. Yeah. His face, I'll read it later. His face was filled with fear, and expression was twisted as he had sensed something extremely terrifying. A true mythical creature, one that would be considered a subsidiary god in the 2nd epoch, had actually died silently without causing a stir. The death was extremely bizarre. The Beyonder characteristics he left behind combined with his corpse formed the jewelry box. Oh shit. that was quite different from the other kinds of sealed artifacts, and back then Mr. Door Bethel Abraham not only didn't attempt to shatter it and restore it to its pure beyond characteristics, he had even given it a rather strange name, Box of the Great Old Ones. Box of the Great Old Ones. The first, there's different layers. Got it. The first level of the box was the Great Old Ones could turn the target's locations into toys. So that was the first layer. And switch the locations with its interior. Bots had used this trait to easily achieve his goal. Check. What's the second layer? The second layer of the box of the Great Old Ones recorded different locations. Once it was released, the holder and the living beings within its effective range would head directly to the corresponding region. Is that where Force is right now? They would then wander around the cosmos like an angel of the Abraham family back then, exploring the universe. As for what was on the third level, the box of the Great Old Ones, bots knew about it but didn't dare to think about it. It was like how he usually didn't dare come into contact with his grade 0 sealed artifact. Oh shit. So she's in the first layer. Oh, because all the toys. Got it. Oh, so the location would be a different location. Okay. Smack. After closing the lid of the box of the Great Old Ones, he grabbed the mirror that was embedded in the transparent vortex that was suspended in midair with his right hand. Remember the abilities of whatever sequence of the apprentice path. Yeah, no, it would be like whatever Archangel's abilities are. It would be like the abilities pathways because it's his characteristic. That's so wild, man. It's so hard to follow beyond your abilities, which were like at the higher levels. It's like, I don't know how Cuttlefish comes up with this stuff. Like, you have to be at such a like specific mood or like a specific train of thought to come up with these abilities. Once he certain the area was concealed, a secret sorcerer had to use the corresponding door or directly remove the concealment to exit. Bottas had chosen the latter method because it was the easiest and fastest method. The shadow stirred and the air that... How the fuck are the... How are the Terror Club members supposed to get in? And he was writing 2 chapters per day, and 2 chapters per day on top of that. Dude, this shit would take me like a month to come up with. The shadow stirred, and I don't know how Cat Lee and the rest get in to help out Forge now. Like, if we're in this, oh shit, if they're spotted, no, you're good, you're good. The shadow stirred and the air dispersed, returned to the real world. The room was finally complete. Bottas didn't stay any longer. Without even looking at his surroundings, he made his body rapidly fade away. He held the many-gammed silver-black box of the Great Old Ones as the colors saturated and overlapped with each other. He traversed the spirit world, which was filled with strange creatures, towards his designated location. In a few seconds, he walked out of the void, attempting to enter the ruins of the Battle of Gods by crossing the huge chasm that split the seas. That's where the Berserk Sea is, right? The Battle of Gods, that's in the Berserk Sea? I think it was. That's why there's that huge crater. At this moment, the Bottas stopped in midair. His eyes narrowed and his eyes intently turned dark, dotted with countless points of resplendence. It was like the cosmos had been reflected in his eyes. The gravel formed by the stars spun rapidly, causing the cracks at the bottom of the sea to rapidly turn incorporeal, causing everything in front of him to shrink and condense into a wavering orange flame. This flame extended from the tip of a matchstick and it was extinguished. Everything that Bottas had experienced and removing the concealed space with was an illusion. He remained rooted to the ground. At the source of the illusion was the burning matchstick. The matchstick was held by a fair-skinned palm, and the owner of the hand was a woman wearing a purple pattern, Catlea? Purple pattern, black robe and hood. She was sitting on a carriage that was half... Well, because Catlea is the only one that wears purple. Oh, Sony Sea is eastern, Berserk Sea is southern. No, that's the Sea of the Ruins after the Sonia Sea. I need to have the map on screen now the whole time. That way I can always reference it. Like, at least when I'm trying to remember locations. She was sitting on a carriage that was halfway through the wall, formed from a gigantic pumpkin. Pulling the carriage was a bunch of gray rats. This was none other than Catlea, but her appearance, image, and bearing had changed. This was the power she had gained from the magic of Cinderella. The magic of Cinderella, the core beyond her powers of the mystery prior pathway sequence for Mystologist was called mystical reenactment, fully expressing the saying knowledge is power. To put it simply, a Mystologist could draw powers from different mysticism knowledge they grasp and create all sorts of magic or witchcraft. As for the corresponding mysticism knowledge, the less that was known by others, the less it spread, the more powerful the spells became. So the less you know, the powerful you are. Cinderella Fairy Tale. So not that many people know the Cinderella Fairy Tale, so because of that, it's a more powerful spell. The contrary could also be established. Once some knowledge and legends were known to many and no longer mysterious, the magic of the witchcraft created by drawing on its powers would become almost ineffective. Oh shit, that's kind of hard to use then. Catlea had no idea why the queen could create all kinds of magical powers that were rich in magical colors from the private fairy tales that Emperor Rizal had told her, but they didn't hinder her learning and usage of them. After all, she had heard of those fairy tales from Queen Mystic. My pinky toe still hurts, man, after stubbing it yesterday. Shit sucked, man. I was bleeding and everything. The magic she had used to temporarily transform and disguise herself was called Cinderella. The magic that threw Saint of Secrets Bautis into illusionary was the little match girl. With that, she had used it to stop the other party from teleporting away, creating an opportunity for the battle that would follow. The little match girl? I don't know what that's referencing. Just as Bautis had extracted himself from the hallucination, the Cinderella, who was sitting in a pumpkin carriage, that's so creepy, placed her foot on the ground and spread out her arms, causing a huge cross to appear behind her. What the fuck? As for Katlia, she seemed to be carrying an illusionary object. In the empty room, candle lights lit up, one after another, illuminating a long table covered with flesh and blood. Around the long table were three extremely blurry figures holding the globs of flesh as they constantly devoured the food. As if sensing something, the three figures turned their heads at the same time and looked at Bautis. This Saint of Secrets' heart raced and he felt a chill run out from his deep within his soul. Oh shit. It's a fairy tale about a girl selling matchsticks for a living. Pretty dark stuff. I'll look into it. I've never heard of that. Oh, hell no. This is fucking creepy. He then heard the illusionary gnawing, chewing, and disgusting sound. And that's where the other saying, he's like, I'm fucking out, man. I ain't helping, man. Bautis is on his own. He could feel the undisguised malice and hunger. Fucking Katlia is scary, dude. Holy shit, she's actually strong. Bautis' eyelids twitched. He hurriedly lowered his head and cast his gaze at the box of the Great Old Ones. In his hand, the silver black box had opened itself without him realizing it at some point in time. The magic that Katlia used was called the Fear of Betrayal. It stands for the mysticism knowledge she learned of the ancient sun god's death from the Tarot Club. Oh, so she's turning knowledge she hears in the Tarot Club into like spells. What? The magic that Katlia used was called the Feast of Betrayal. Oh shit, when he was being eaten. Yeah, no, when the three angels was eating the ancient sun god. So she's turning that, oh, the dinner table too from the other artwork we've seen. Oh, so she's turning all the knowledge she's learned from the Tarot Club into spells. Oh shit. It stemmed from the mysticism knowledge she learned from the ancient sun god's death from the Tarot Club. Its purpose was to temporarily awaken or imbue the target with intelligence, allowing them to commit a betrayal. A betrayal? Without a doubt, the effects of encountering a sealed artifact that was filled with malice towards the owner would be excellent. However, if not for the fact that she had obtained the protection of Mr. Fool at the very gathering, the moderate Katlia wouldn't have dared to use this magic. Once the three main leads, the three angels eating ASG. Once the three main leads of the betrayal feast sensed it, she would definitely die from obscure reasons. She wouldn't be able to resist her death and would die an abnormally horrifying death. Therefore, mythologists were definitely individuals with high risk. Their strength came from walking the edge of the abyss, from courting death. Coming from things that shouldn't Oh man, my nose is itchy. Coming from things that shouldn't have been heard, or in comparison, Queen Mystic, who could create magic from her father's private fairy tales, which much safer than the other mythologists at her same tier. Wow, that's so cool. Damn, she got it good then. What the fuck? So, dude, if you were part of the Tarot Club or knew all the shit that Rizal and Bernadette told you, you would be screwed, man. It'd be so much harder to like manage this sequence, man. That's so fucking cool. All right, chapter 1196 is called The Ugly Duckling. Oh, I know this tale. I know that one. All right. Oh, if you guys are watching a live stream, you can see what just happened right there. But people pay to do that, and I just did it for free. Damn, that's crazy, man. All right, chapter 1196 is called The Ugly Duckling. When opening the first level of the box of the Great Old Ones, the long table chairs, fours, and the others were like dolls. Oh, so fours is also like a doll. And the others were like dolls. They were either still or motionless, otherwise unable to, under the power of Tarosian springs, they made repeated simple movements. Upon seeing this scene, Bautis' hair stood on one end. For some baffling reason, he felt that he was about to join and become one of them. Oh shit, even he's scared of becoming one. He instinctively wanted to react to the Great Zero sealed artifact in his hand, but he saw that the hooded, purple-robed woman retracted her right hand, hold it to her mouth, slightly clenched. A dark color instantly formed in her palm. It was an ancient bugle with a charm that appeared very heavy and powerful. The horn of magic, the horn of destruction. Baltus' pupils dilated as he lacked the luxury of time to deal with the box of the great old ones. He grabbed forward with his right hand as though he had raised the invisible screen that shielded the void. The area he was in distorted once again. He disappeared and was concealed. Woo. The horn in Catlea's mind let out a soft hum. It echoed in the room, but he didn't extend out of his confines. With the sound waves overlapping, the shadows shattered and the ground cracked. The space that had been concealed by the Saints of Secrets was like a thick piece of glass that had been struck by a sledgehammer. Countless cracks appeared and intervened with each other. That's so cool. Elsewhere, a towering knight in full black armor appeared out of the shadows. He had a long broadsword, 2 dark red beams of light glimmering in his eye sockets. I'm sorry, Saint Tenebros? He's joining? I thought he was just gonna leave. Saint Tenebros Kisma. So he's joining. I thought bots is like, if you see anything, you gotta leave. What the fuck? Woo. Woo? What kind of sound effect is that? Like, is it like whoosh? Once again, Catlea blew the horn. Everything in the room seemed to freeze in a translucent amber. Suddenly, the amber broke apart, and even the black armored knight fell to the ground like a mirror, shattering into small shards. Oh shit, we got it. We got him. The distorted region returned to the real world. However, Botus also managed to grab the gap between the 2 horns blows, and he created numerous illusory doors appear around him. Some of them were double doors that opened outwards, some were deep and recessed, some were covered in mysterious patterns, and some were hollow in the middle, allowing one to vaguely see the boundless darkness behind them. The illusory door were in bountiful numbers, densely packed and overlapped together, almost enveloping the Saint of Secrets. Without any time to think further, Botus immediately opened a grayish-blue door with 7 brass locks, and he threw the box of the great old ones that was just about to have its second layer open inside. This was the secret sorcerer exile. It could throw a target he had gained into initial control of into corresponding chaotic space. As for the different illusory doors that represented different scenes, one where dangers and opportunity coexisted. This kind of exile wasn't permanent. As Botus' sequence level, she was only capable of isolating the box of the great old ones from reality for 20 seconds. Once that time was up, the grade 0 sealed artifact returned to the spot beside him through the illusory door from before. However, by then, the betrayal induced by the enemies beyond her powers would definitely have disappeared. As a demigod of the apprentice pathway, he had traveled many places, witnessed many things, and recorded many kinds of powers. Botus made the most correct decision in that split instant. Oh, shit. He said he'd leave if it goes wrong. For now... Oh, so because it has... Okay, because it hasn't gone wrong yet, he hasn't left. Thank you. Thank you for clarification, Kami. Got it. Okay, so it hasn't gone wrong yet, so he's still staying behind. Well, he's screwed. He's probably going to get taken out too. At the same time, the Black Knight had split into pieces, quickly squirmed and reformed, becoming a thin rug that flowed with flesh and blood. It covered every corner of the room. As a cult that could only survive in the shadows of reality, the Aurora Order might have many lunatics, but they were used to doing things to conceal themselves so as to prevent themselves from attracting the official Beyonders before their goals were met. Of course, one matter was in the first stages, they were definitely proclaimed their existence openly. In addition, Saint Tenebros Kisma had done so in hopes of obstructing the possible enemies that were hidden outside. To a certain extent, this allowed a separation of the battlefield. When a layer of flesh grew out from the floor, walls and ceilings, a twisted black shadow rose up from the corner. This was one of the souls that Saint Tenebros Kismas had grazed. Oh, he grazed one. It was a powerful vampire from the Forsaken Lands of Gods, a sequence 4 Shaman King of the Moon Pathway. Where the fuck did he get that? If the shepherd's grazed targets were a demigod, he could release it directly due to the existence of his corporeal spirit body. However, there could only be released at any one point in time unless the corresponding shepherd had already become a sequence 3 Trinity Templar. I'm sorry, do we know Trinity Templar? I don't remember this. If a shepherd had already become a sequence 3 Trinity Templar, I don't remember this. Trinity Templar. Seizing the opportunity that the horn and the female demigods had was dissipating, the twisted Shaman King reached out and dug out one of his eyes. A bright eye illusory door. The eye shimmered with a bright crimson glow as it instantly illuminated the entire room, as though the crimson mood had been descended. Its pupils reflected the woman wearing the pupil patterns and black robes and a dark colored hood. Immediately following that, the Shaman King clasped the hand which was holding his eye, letting the crimson moonlight become completely devoured by darkness. Oh shit, bro forgot the Aurora Order demigods know how to get the Forsaken Lands. I forgot that. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't remember that. The Aurora Order demigods know how to get to the Forsaken Lands. Well, I mean, that makes sense if they believe in the true creator, yeah? Because we've seen them when they look up at the giant true creator monument, or like the chasm. Okay, a normal person and his son managed to get to the Forsaken Lands of gods. That's true. My man, they were literally, wow, you can tell I'm American. I don't even remember my own history. Like the dad and son, literally, they just busted a Christopher Columbus, huh? A deep dive. I know Christopher Columbus wasn't the first per se, technically, right? I know that, but I still find that funny. They busted a Christopher Columbus and went all the way there. Their angel was literally in the Forsaken Lands of Gods. I don't remember that. Oh my god. Wow. I'm starting to forget shit. A deep darkness appeared around Ketlia as the solidified darkness bound her to the spot. It froze the scene. Upon seeing the scene, Bottas took a deep step forward, facing behind his enemy instantaneously, performing one blink followed by another as a total of 8 figures dressed in black robes appeared around Ketlia. These were avatars around he created, but after images he left behind due to his blazing blink. Some of them released lightning storms, while others condensed a blinding white sphere. Some were covered in black armor as they slashed out a heavy broadsword that could appear capable of slicing through anything. Different figures with different powers either attacked or created a form of control, but their target was one of the same Ketlia. There was almost no pause in between their actions. When Bottas' figures blinked to another corner, he quickly turned transparent as if he was on the brink of disappearing. He had no intention of killing the enemy, as this was backland. Also, the commotion created for their battle couldn't be suppressed any further. Once it affected the outside world, official angels might descend. The reason why he first launched a series of counterattacks before teleporting away was because he wanted to suppress the enemy and prevent her from interfering with his Saint of Tenebros Kisma's escape. So we are going to interfere with him escaping. Angel of the Holy World, from America to Europe. This was, you know what? That is a crazy ass journey. Music a bit loud, in my opinion. Oh, I got you. I'll lower it a bit. This was a very reasonable strategy. However, a few seconds ago, and dude, going on a plane from like America, Europe is just scary, bro. You look down and all you see is sea. Like, no matter what way you look, all you see is sea, man. That shit is scary, man. Even that fucking scared me. They did that shit on a boat, on a fucking wooden boat, bro. That's wild. No, I said, oh, it needs to be a bit louder. Not that it's loud. I got you. There's almost no pause in between certain actions. When Bottas' figure blinked to another corner, he quickly turned transparent as he was on the brink of disappearing. Oh, he's trying to escape? He had no intention of killing the enemy, as this was backland. Also, the commotion created from their battle couldn't be suppressed any further. Don't worry, once the song repeated, so the music will ramp up right now. Once it affected the outside world, official angels might descend. That doesn't sound good. The reason why he had first launched a series of counterattacks before teleporting away was because he wanted to suppress the enemy and prevent her from interfering with his and Saint Tenebros Kisma escape. They're both trying to escape, ain't gonna work. This is a very reasonable strategy. However, a few seconds ago, in a room on an upper level of an old apartment, Shio had learned of all the changes in the venue through Miss Justice's mind voice. Oh shit, here we go. Although she was worried and anxious, she didn't panic at all. She followed the plan and jumped down from the window and somersaulting in midair as she pointed at the targeted area. Teleportation is prohibited here. That is so cool. She just said teleportation is prohibited here, and now they can't teleport. Oh, that is such a... I forgot how badass that ability is. Being a judge is so sick. They're out-judged. That is... So, I forgot judges can do that. I forgot. It's like I remember when Klein fought the 3 of them in Volume 2. Oh, that's our judge. That's definitely our judge. That is so badass. After doing this, she immediately distanced herself from the apartment to prevent the friendly demigods from being distracted. When this interference, the Saint of Secrets Bottas failed to successfully enter the spirit world. He couldn't teleport. A rusty, abnormal, heavy door appeared in front of him as it tightly sealed the path. To Bottas, an illusory door of this level wasn't able to stop him from leaving at all. He could open the door once he made some adjustments. He can leave. But at this moment, so he can't teleport, but he has to physically open the door and escape. So he's not technically teleporting, but he can still physically go through it. But at this moment, something anomalous. I've never spelled that word in my life. At this moment, something anomalous had happened over as the female demigod on the purple pattern black robe. Silver light appeared in Katlia's eyes. They connected together like a mysterious giant snake. Will? This was brief luck derived from the knowledge she had obtained from analyzing the blood of a snake of fate. Regardless of the terrifying lightning, burning white sphere, or the slash of the black knight, none of them hit the target. Katlia seemed to be standing at the eye of the storm. No matter how dangerous the surroundings were, she was unaffected. Truly lucky. Those attacks and the attempts at control either narrowly passed her by or were cancelled out by friendly forces. They were unable to achieve the desired effect, and they even helped her weaken the dark shackles. Instantly, Katlia bowed her back slightly as white and illusory feathers grew out of them. Oh shit. They didn't belong to an angel, but rather a swan. The ugly duckling. The ugly duckling had to become a swan. Have you guys seen the black swan? Something unusual? Anomalous. Something unusual. Ah, thank you. The ugly duckling had to become a swan. Asked for what a swan was to a sequence 4 demigod. The answer was obvious. It was an incomplete mythical creature form, and that ugly duckling could also become a swan. This was a powerful magical that could allow a mythologist to reveal their incomplete mythical creature form for once a day. This was a powerful magic that could allow a mythologist to reveal their incomplete mythical creature form once a day, with each instance lasting 10 seconds. Only 10 seconds a day. The surface of Katlia's body immediately cracked open as flesh and blood gathered inside, forming eyeballs with clear blacks and whites. The countless eyeballs coldly scanned the surroundings as though they were manifesting or multifarious knowledge. As such, the figure that bore their weight turned into a black blob that was even more abstract in a higher spatial dimension. I can follow this. I'm able to follow this so far. I guess because I'm not reading too fast, I'm able to follow. And then she was still in the room, right? Because she technically jumped in and shouted, "You can't use teleportation." Upon seeing the densely packed eyeball, Saints of Secrets, Baltus, and Saint Tenebros Kismos felt dizzy. A knowledge storm took form in their minds. The layer of flesh and blood that enveloped the entire room began to tremble slightly. Some dripped down while others squirmed intermittently. Dude, how are we going to animate this shit in the future? At this moment, an unimaginable aura pierced through the barrier formed from flesh and blood, pouring into the first floor that dilapidated the apartment, enveloping every corner of the apartment. At the same time, Saints of Secrets, Baltus, and Saint Tenebros Kismos were shocked. Their bodies, souls, and minds were in an uncontrollable state. This was Dragon Might, which had undergone a qualitative change, mind deprivation. Isn't this Audrey's attack? Seizing this opportunity, the black blob that was covered in cracks and eyes condensed a sphere in front of it. The sphere appeared ancient in style. Yo, what's up, dude? She what? She skedaddled? Oh, she skedaddled. Oh, so she did skedaddle. She just came in to block the teleport. Okay, and she exited. So she went. So she went in and out. Okay. The spear appeared ancient in style. Yeah, I'm like, why would she no, she wouldn't need to stay there. And then the whole time, Forz is like frozen like a doll in place, right? So just to follow, Forz is still frozen in place. I am in stream but can't hear because my headphones are dead and I am in public. Oh, I'm sorry, unknown. The sphere appeared ancient in style. From the tip of its handle, it was dyed in blobs of blood-red splotches. It emitted a mighty destructive aura and a bloody feeling, as though it had once hurt a mighty existence. With a whoosh, the terrifying sphere shot out, heading straight for Baltus, who stood rooted to the ground. In the entire room, all the voices and details vanished. Even the dragon might that filled the room suddenly disappeared, leaving behind only the bloody sphere, Tin, and Baltus, as well as the constantly shrinking distances between them. The sphere of Longinus? What are we reading? Evangelion? Are we using the sphere of Longinus? I cannot read right now. Longinus. Are we using the spear of Longinus? Really?
Spear of Longinus.
That's how you, there's no way that's how you pronounce it. And Evangelion, I pronounce it differently. Okay. What happened to Forrest? Man, she's still frozen like a doll. I think she's still frozen, right? Chapter 1197 is called Mind Storm, okay? Gotta stretch my back, guys. My back is cramping up, man. I can't stay still like I used to, man. Back then I can play for like 8 hours straight, man. Not anymore. My back starts to ache after a while. Mind Storm, the bloodstained spear that seemed to come from an... Oh, man, I need my glasses. One sec. The bloodstained spear that seemed to come from an ancient time that couldn't be traced has absorbed the entire room, presence stabbing straight into the body of the Saint Secrets Baltus. So we're actually stabbing him with a spear. The brown-haired, firm body's Baltus figure faded away, turning into a pair of black double doors. What? At the same time, he appeared behind the door, placing himself into a separate world from the terrifying sphere as he looked at it from afar. And the next moment, the sphere that was staining with red blood pierced through the black door and bore into the space where Bottas was. Bottas' figure kept retreating, constantly transforming into one illusionary door after another. Some of them were made up of 2 winding stone golems, while the other had a fist-sized hole by the gaps of the door. Some were embedded with silver nails, while the others were covered in mysterious patterns. One after another, they were layered repeatedly, extending to an infinite number. Without a sound, the sphere of Longinus tore through the illusionary door without stopping at all. It didn't allow Saint of Seekers Bottas to find a chance to escape. In less than a second, the blood-stained sphere that emitted... Yeah, it's so crazy. It's a red sphere, just like in Ava. In less than a second, the blood-stained sphere that emitted a strong sense of destruction had shattered countlessly illusionary doors. After it suffered a decline in its aura, it finally stabbed into its target's chest. Countless cracks instantly appeared on Bottas' body as it was a ceramic object that had fallen to the ground. With a crackling... Please, did we kill him? The sphere? Spear. Am I saying sphere? I'm sorry, I'm saying it. Spear. Spear. I'm saying sphere. My bad. Spear. Sphere, spear. The spear of Longinus. I know I'm saying sphere. I know it's spear of Longinus. I don't know why I'm saying sphere. Wow. Sorry, tongue twister. With a cracking sound, the Saints of Seekers... Thank you for pointing that out, Kemi. I would have kept saying it. With a cracking sound, Saints of Seekers turned pitch black as they disintegrated into a piece, scattering all over the ground. This didn't seem like his actual body, but more like his shadow. This was the shadow substitute spell he had recorded from a certain sequence 3 saint under the true creator. Of course, without layers of doors, the weakening spear of Longinus had... He believed that it was very likely that his shadows together with his body would have scattered together. After narrowly dodging this strike, Bottas endured the dizziness and shock brought about by Catlia's incomplete mythical creature form as he made a gigantic scaleless silver snake appear in his eyes. This gigantic snake was so large that it filled Bottas' eyes. Its surface was filled with dense patterns that labeled formed one by one mystical wheels after another. Its head connected to its tail as it merged with countless illusionary rivers, turning into a blurred, surreal, and slowly spinning gear around the room gear where all sorts of symbols and repressed different features. Suddenly, the black fragments had yet to disappear on the ground, flew up one after another and reorganized themselves on the spot, restoring Bottas. The ground that was stained with dark red blood quickly retreated from the numerous illusionary doors until it returned to the distorted black blob. The strong, fearful atmosphere receded like the tidal and left the room. The black blob that was covered in cracks and eyeballs squirmed and restored itself. It restores itself, turning back into a purple patterned black-robed woman with a hood. That's so weird that she just did that. Everything returned to its point before the ugly duckling magic was used. Reboot. Oh, and she reboots her fate? So she like gains back her fate? This was one of the rewards given to the Saints of Secrets Bottas for crushing the Abraham family. Oh, he was allowed to record the sequence of one beyond her powers of the Angel of Fate. So Bottas actually recorded one of Ouroboros' abilities? Read Hopeland's message. What? Also, the Spear of Longinus is not from Ava. Well, I know it's not from Ava. I know it's based on reality, but like the Spear of Longinus, that I every time I'm reading this, I think back to media I've consumed. I know it's based on real life, right? The Spear. I mean, I need to get closer. Even I can read this font right now. The Sphere of Longinus is not from Ava. It's the Sphere of Destiny, or the Holy Sphere. This is alleged to be the lance that pierced the side of Jesus as he hung up on a cross during his crucifixion. Oh, yeah, it's when he was hung up, right? It was the one that got him. Yeah, same way Force had recorded Gurman's abilities when she recorded it. Why do you keep saying... Am I keep saying sphere? Spear. Why am I saying sphere? Spear. 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 Sphere. Spear of Longinus. Oh, man. Yeah, but Katlia is definitely fucking 1v2ing. I think that's the most badass part. The fact that she's taking on 2 fucking saints, man, from the Aurora Order. Like, what the fuck? Of course, there was definitely a huge gap from the original version. It could only reboot reality for 3 seconds. And it was limited to the space of a tiny room like this. It wasn't even able to affect the entire first floor of the apartment. Think of Britney Spears. I just said sphere again. Think of Britney Spears. Think of Britney Spears when you read it. Dude, fun fact. I was a Britney Spears fan when I was a kid, man. Bruh. Oh my god. I'm going crazy. I'm losing control. It's like when he says Susie instead of Susie. Sussy instead of Susie? Yeah. You stop saying sphere, you are now saying sphere.
The layers of doors weakening the spear of long Enu.
The moment reboot ended, the prepared Saint Tenebros Schisma immediately took action. The Gray's twisted shadow that stemmed from a sanguine court spread open its arms and made a gesture of embracing the crimson moon. The darkness around Catleya surged, instantly forming illusionary but firmly black chains that bound her to her spot. I'm sorry, how is only Catleya fighting? Where are the others? That bound to her spot. The flesh and blood that covered the ground, walls and ceiling gathered together, rapidly turning into a knight covered in black full body armor. He held a heavy greatsword in his hand and looked extremely oppressive. In the gap of the Black Knight's vision, two dark red beams of light flickered and instantly locked onto the hooded woman beside the pumpkin carriage. The shadow beneath Catleya's feet suddenly came alive as it grabbed her ankles. What the fuck? Like a water current that had its water level rising up, it gripped her tightly, Black Knight commandeering shadows. Then the gigantic knight that was almost reaching the ceiling as though he came from the mythical legends, rushed to a stop not far away from his target with a single step. He cleaved down with his heavy, long broadsword. Elsewhere, let her cook. That, I mean, she's doing really good. I just thought the others would be more involved. But Catleya's like actually she's fucking soloing this. Elsewhere, oh wait, I skipped a sentence. Then the gigantic knight far away took a step. He cleaved down with a heavy, long broadsword. Elsewhere, okay, here we go. A silver illusionary book in the eyes of the Saint Secret's bosses flipped rapidly. A dead stopped at a single page. With that, Bosses reached out his left hand and grabbed the pumpkin carriage across a distance of 20 to 30 meters. He grabbed that from 30 feet away? Really? Across a distance of 20 to 30 meters, he then grabbed the mysterious woman in a purple patterned black robe. His arm suddenly grew longer and its surface was black and sticky, as if it was flowing in an evil liquid. Amidst the liquid, pale skulls and eyes with pronounced blood vessels grew out, including the sharp teeth and tongues. All sorts of strange things grew out, causing extreme evil and extreme madness to spread rapidly through the area. In the room, the ground instantly cracked and the few cockroaches that were still alive collapsed to the ground. What's with the cockroaches here? This was an attack from a particular state of Abomination Sua. Sua? This was an attack from a particular state of Abomination Sua. Back outside Bayam City, Saints of Secret's bosses had been attracted by Tinder. It appeared as though he only wanted to watch from the sidelines for a while before picking up the item and leaving immediately. But in fact, he had been desperately trying to record the powers or states of the higher level existences. After failing numerous times due to the frequent blessings of fate, he eventually obtained what he wanted. Of course, during the battle, he only managed to record one. Not trust? Trust. He only managed to record one. Under the evil and pitch-black arm, Catleya's consciousness was tainted with madness. For a moment, she was unable to respond effectively. Together with the shackled darkness restraining her shadows, she could only stand rooted to the ground as she watched Saint Tenebros Schisma's greatsword slash at her while Saint of Secret's Bautis reached out his left hand to grab at her. At this moment, the flesh and blood walls in the room that separated the interior from the exterior was gone. An invisible and abrupt wind stirred up. The moment the wind appeared, it grew violent and swept towards the Saint's Secrets and Saint Tenebros' heart. Manipulator's mind stormed. Not only was he not surprised or flustered, but the chaotic thoughts. Baltus even had the corners of his lips pulled up and smiled. As the switch for the reboot, he naturally remembered that the demigods riding the pumpkin carriages had a helper of the same level hiding outside the apartment somewhere. The reason why he placed his focus on the enemy on the surface was to lure out the hidden demigod. And between the two powers of Reboot of Fate, the Abomination State, Bautis had secretly hypnotized himself. Allowing himself to naturally divine the burden of the mind deprivation and the knowledge of the torrent across most of his worms of stars. He then left a small number of control his body so as to lock onto the hidden enemy. Back in the battle royal during the end of volume 3, back in the battle royale at the chaos battle on the hill when everybody with Sua got it and the others, right? Back in the battle royale during the end of volume 3, Bautis came at the end to grab Tinder that climbed through. Oh, and he was able to record Sua's attack when Sua was fighting? Whoa, that's a crazy-ass buildup. He was able to record that from Volume 3? And also, you remember someone came through a door above Gurman's ship and Gurman used the monster pathway dice to send him away. It was Bottas, right, Cammy? Was that? I don't remember that. That was Bot. Fuck, I don't remember that part unknown. Oh, shit. To lock onto the hidden enemy. Previously, the dragon's might shock and the fact that he was unable to discover his target had convinced Bottas that it was a demigod of the spectator pathway, so he was able to sense Audrey, but he just can't pinpoint her. While his mind was in a daze, the thing had breached out rapidly, churning and helped Bottas locate the source of the attack. But at this moment, most of the thoughts that resonated among the worms of Star wasn't him being overloaded with meaningless information as he had imagined. In his mind, there seems to be a voice saying thousands of words in a second. Thousands of words in a second? At the bottom of the abandoned castle in the Delir Forest, there is a pair of bronze double doors. Oh shit. It was sealed with a corruptive force underground. So the higher sequences of beyond it is when approaching, the easier it is to be affected. The cosmos is extremely dangerous. There are unknown existences watching. Dark Angel is suspected to be the negative personality disassociated from the ancient sun god. I'm sorry, is Bottas hearing all this? Oh, and he's starting to lose control hearing all this shit. So Audrey is saying all this shit at once, I assume with all her different personas speaking in tandem, and he's like, yo, what? And he's going crazy as he listens in. What? Bottas was taken aback. He felt that those thoughts were dangerous, but he couldn't help but wish to understand more. Oh shit. Audrey is spamming. It's like she's spamming spoilers. Audrey is actually just spamming LO2M spoilers at her enemies. She's like, she's being the keyboard elitist, just spamming spoilers. And Bots is like, yo, I can't hear, but I kind of want to hear. Oh shit. Bottas was taken aback. He felt that these thoughts were dangerous, but he couldn't help but wish to understand more. He's so enticed. Just this moment of stupor made the enemy he had already found disappeared once again, escaping his range of attention. Oh, and she just escapes out of his grasps. As for the abomination palm that was hurtling toward... Oh, Sua's attack when his arm reached out, right? That's the ability he recorded. When Sua's arm reached out of the copper whistle, that's the ability he recorded. Got it. The abomination palm that was hurtling towards the pumpkin carriage and the female demigod, it was slowed down. Yeah, no one. I'm like, how the fuck is he able to reach from 20 to 30 meters? I'm like, you must have a long ass hand. Similarly, Saints. So he's using the same ability Sua used at the end of Volume 3. That's fucking hype. Similarly, Saint Tenebros Kisma was also affected by the Mind Storm, and his actions stiffened for a second. Oh, so he also heard that for a sec. By the time they recovered, Katlia had already opened her mouth and spat out a pea. A pea? The pea instantly grew, turning into a thick green vine. Oh, that's so cool. Wait, are we doing another? Are we doing? Oh my God, Jack and Joe. Oh my God, I'm forgetting this. I've read this as a child. How am I forgetting it? The pea instantly grew, growing into a thick green vines as he dragged Katlia out the door, allowing her to escape the shackles. Okay, so she's out. Allowing her to escape the shackles of darkness and regain some freedom of movement. So we're switching out. By the time Saint Tenebros' heavy greatsword and Saints of Secrets' pitch black arms landed on her, they only shattered a shadow that did not injure the mythologist. I'm sorry. Isn't Jack Beanstalk? Thank you. I'm sorry. Isn't Leonard supposed to also participate? They had shattered Katlia's Emperor's New Clothes. I thought I said Emperor's New Groove. They had shattered Katlia's Emperor's New Clothes, magic, something that didn't exist at all, so she naturally wouldn't be injured. She naturally wouldn't be injured because it didn't exist at all. And the next second, the hooded lady in the purple pattern black robe suddenly turned transparent and turned into a pall of foam. She turned into a blob, and now she's turning into a pile of foam. The bubbles quickly scattered and burst one after another. Nothing was left behind. As for the green vines, they grew into mid-air and burst into flames, illuminating the surrounding streets. Everything returned to normal. It was as if the short and intense demigods level battles had never happened. Saints of Secrets Bottas and Saint Tenebros Kisma exchanged glances. They weren't surprised by such a development. Clearly, after a sneak attack failed, the two demigods' enemies were at a disadvantage and could no longer achieve their goals. Furthermore, this was backland. The longer they delayed, the more dangerous it would be. Hence, they took the opportunity to escape. Nah, they ain't gonna escape. In addition, in order to interfere with the tracking, they had deliberately created a huge commotion to track the authorities of backland, okay? As for the copy of Layman's Travels in Sequence 7 or 6 Apprentice Beyonders, they were base that could be abandoned. After a slight nod, Saints of Secrets Bottas took out a crystal ball from his black robe's concealment pocket. It bloomed with light before it quickly shattered and emerged into the void. No shot, they escape. He was trying to prevent tracking via mysticism means. Indeed, he didn't dare to stay any longer. He planned on No shot, they actually teleport away. He planned on teleporting away and returning to the Aurora Order headquarters. Then he would interrogate the bait and figure out the truth before deciding what to do next. A second later, Bottas figured... Wait, so Force is still in there. Oh shit, we're lagging. Wait, let me do my timestamp. Chapter 1198 is called Frenzy. Okay, that sounds badass. Frenzy. The Saint of Secrets Bottas began to traverse the spirit. No shot, he fucking escaped. The Saints. I remember watching the trailers or just seeing stuff at Anime Expo for the Gachi Uka thing. I can't pronounce it wrong. Easy. You should read it. Ultimate side story free stream. That could be fun. You know what? I haven't read out loud my side story on Megoose and Lenevus going out to dinner at a bakery shop. You'll never figure out who was the bakery owner. It's pretty funny. I gotta read that one out. Like, I think I still have a saved one notes. That shit was funny. I was laughing when I read that out. Chapter 1100. Megoose, I know. She ain't gonna die. Megoose lives on in our head. Chapter 1190 is called Frenzy. The Saints of Secrets Bottas began to traverse the spirit world the moment he entered, heading straight for the easternmost front of the Sonia Sea, the ruins of the Battle Gods. At this moment, his thoughts blurred. His body turned and left the spirit world through another place. By the time Bottas received a warning from the spirituality, he had regained control of his own thoughts while feeling tense when what he saw was a bare forest with nearly all of its levels scattered. There was no one around, and the crimson moon hung high in the sky. As a former traveler and astrologer, he immediately identified his location and found that he was still in Backland. However, he had moved from the city to a remote area in the suburbs. At the same time, he also understood what had happened. It was unknown when his mind world had been infiltrated with someone else's consciousness. Oh, Audrey. At that critical moment, it affected his thoughts and changed his destination. Audrey was able to change his destination? The Spectator Pathways Demigod. I didn't realize that Bottas' pupils dilated as a silvery white illusory book appeared. The book flipped to one page. Bottas immediately raised his hand to grab his glabella. He grabbed a ball of darkness from the island of consciousness and threw it into the shadow. His shadow was separated from him as it twisted to a stand, revealing a female silhouette. Black Knight, Shadow of Deprivation. I don't know what we're going to do with that one. I don't know what we're doing that one, Hope. This was an ability that Bottas had recorded from the same Tenebros Kisma. Oh, he recorded Tenebros' ability. It could separate one's depraved thoughts into a... Oh! So he separates his personas. Hello, dude. Hello, Choman. What's up? It could separate one's depraved thoughts into a shadow and form an uncontrollable independent creature. Bottas used it to erase the consciousness that didn't belong to him and escape the influence of the manipulator. Ain't no way we're escaping, dude. At the same time, this was also a Bottas counterattack. As long as the hidden spectator pathway demigod couldn't quickly resolve this shadow, the thoughts he had fractured would gradually become independent, turning her half mad and even causing her to lose control. Cap. Once he was done with the latent mental problems, Bottas didn't hesitate to escape the enemy predetermined battlefield and teleport elsewhere. However, at this moment, his mind suddenly turned frantic. He felt that the entire environment was making things difficult for him, and his anger could no longer be contained. As the silver book flipped in front of his eyes, the entire Forsaken collapsed with a loud bang. The black shadow almost collapsed into a ball. After his bout of mania, Bottas' mood dropped to a nadir. He couldn't lift his spirits with regards to anything. He felt that he was useless, a burden to others and even the world. Mental plague. In the previous battle, Bottas had already been infected by the mental plague, and it had finally acted up. But the reason why Katlia first used the little match girl magic wasn't only because she wanted to interfere with Bottas' teleportation, but also because she was helping Miss Justice conceal any traces through that spell, allowing her virtual persona to infiltrate Bottas' mind world without triggering his spiritual intuition. Oh my god, okay, I'm following, I'm not getting lost. A seed of mental plague was planted, and it spreads. Was planted, and because the mental plague was spreading, it spreads from the piece Bottas split in his, so he still gets affected. Because the plague spreads from one to the other. A seed of mental plague was planted secretly without triggering it. It was precisely because of this that when the sneak attack failed, Katlia and Audrey dared to initiate the contingency plan. They retreated one on their own according, allowing Saints of Secrets Bottas and Saint Tenebros Kisma to separate from each other after they were out of danger. What? Catleya finally ignited off the final green vine appeared to create a huge commotion to attract the attention of the official Beyonders, making the enemy abandon their pursuit, but in fact it was to force the Saints and Seekers to leave as quickly as possible. This way he didn't have the time to carefully examine and check his condition at a deeper level. Hence, at that critical moment of his teleportation, he had his thoughts changed by Audrey's virtual persona. He came directly to the outskirts of Backland, an uninhabited kill box which the Terror Club had chosen. What the fuck? They made him a kill box? And once he finished off the manipulator's virtual persona, the eruption of the mental plague came right on the heels of that. Oh, and killing Audrey's virtual persona triggers the mental plague. Yo, dude, Love, you came back the second I came back. That's crazy timing. Came right on the heels of that. In fact, if he had used the reboot of fate earlier, he definitely wouldn't have been able to return to a state where there were no latent problems. However, he only decided to use this trump card when he was nearly killed by the Spear of Longinus, and by that time his mind world had already been infiltrated for far more than the 3 seconds. He was very dispirited and depressed, trying his best to resist his mental illness. It was at this moment that he saw a bunch of surreal yarn balls appeared out of the void in front of him. At the back of the yarn ball and the bright colored yarn extended into the infinite castle. I thought it's infinite distance. I thought it said infinite castle. Like I just saw that movie in theaters. Into an infinite distance. Following this line, Catleya, who was wearing a purple patterned black robe and a dark colored hood, walked over from the spirit world and appeared in front of the Saints of Secrets Bottis. She was unable to track down enemies that had done some level of interference, but she could establish a connection with a predetermined battlefield. She could trace just as Audrey's virtual persona. The moment she arrived, Catleya closed her eyes and formed a phantom image that fell towards an invisible coffin. The already depressed Bottis instantly felt extremely exhausted. He couldn't help but close his eyes, waiting to collapse, sleeping beauty. On the other side, Audrey's virtual persona, which Audrey had fully turned independent, was like a dark shadow, bringing with it a sense of depravity. She raised her hand and pinched her forehead. She's like, oh, okay. Her pupils slightly turned vertical. They were pale gold and cold. Bottis, her eyes changed, just like Hyven I remember Hyven Rambus's eyes would also turn like golden eyes. Bottis' mind instantly exploded as bubbles of light appeared on the surface of his body. Within the bubbles, rays of starlight condensed into insects with their heads and tails fused into the void. I cannot imagine this. Hold up. It's hard to imagine this. Psychiatric frenzy. This could completely trigger the target's emotions and even cause him to lose control. Bottis had already been affected with a mental plague and was in an extremely abnormal state. Following that, he was already affected by the Sleeping Beauty magic and was in an extremely dispirited mood. Frenzy now triggered everything immediately, making it difficult for him to control himself, and as he showed signs of losing control. Okay, we're almost there. Seizing this opportunity, Catleya opened her eyes, raised her right hand, and rapidly formed a handful of spinning stars as What? She rapidly formed a handful of spinning stars sand in her palm. The forest beneath the night became even darker. The crimson moon dispersed from the sky as the stars appeared one after another. They were densely packed and dazzling. Is this Evernight? The crimson moon disappeared from the sky as stars appeared one after another. They were densely packed and dazzling. The stars scattered their rays of light, forming a magnificent pillars of light that enveloped the area around the Saints of Seekers, Bottis, and his surroundings. Oh, this is Catleya's ability. In the midst of the shock, Bottis became a little more awake. His figure rapidly turned into a blur as he kept blinking, creating more than 10 after images in the first. Wait, what happened to Tenebros? What happened to the other guy? Wait, what did this guy do? Oh, I'm sorry, where's he in this situation now? He escaped and Tenebros is still back at the original spot? In the midst of the shock, Bottis became a little more awake. His figure rapidly turned into a blur. Wow, I shouldn't have taken that 10-minute break. I'm forgetting what happened to Tenebros. His figure rapidly turned into a blur as he kept blinking, creating more than 10 after images in the forest. However, he could not escape the starlight's envelope, nor could he teleport away. They both went separate ways. Okay, so they did go. He escaped and he went another way. Nor could he teleport away. One by one, the starlight melted and dissipated the different Bottis. Finally, there was only one person left, genuflecting, propping up his body with one palm as he struggled. Bottis' body was in shambles. His eyes were already dark red, and he appeared to be on the brink of insanity. When the starlight was in its final moments, he blinked and dodged the follow-up attack of Audrey's virtual persona. Then he kept blinking and created doppelgangers beside Katlia and Audrey's virtual persona. One of his doppelgangers grabbed with his left hand the start of the area when Audrey's virtual persona was located. He concealed it in a bit to restrain the enemy. As for the other doppelganger, he spread open his arms and summoned a thick pillar of light surrounding by holy flames, letting its blast down and He spread open his arms, summoned thick pillars of light surrounded by holy flames, letting it blast down in the concealed space. It blast down. During this process, Balta's other doppelganger had secretly removed the concealment of space. Hence, as soon as the shadow corresponding to Audrey's virtual persona was freed from the restriction, it was enveloped by a holy pillar of light, quickly melting away. In this blinking state, Baltas could use the Beyonder powers at speed as faster than normal, but he couldn't sustain it for long. This was something that was achieved via using his numerous worms of stars. Elsewhere, the Saint of Secrets, Baltas was also attacking Katlia. He had used the various powers in the short span of a second or two. He had inundated his target with a barrage of attacks. This forced Katlia to constantly use the Emperor's new clothes magic to avoid it. She was momentarily unable to counter attack and was in a grave danger. After a few seconds later, Balta's blinking finally slowed down. The mania in his heart also eased. At this moment, the grayish-white and heavy skulls suddenly appeared outside the forest, okay? They were faintly discernible as if they were forming an extremely oppressive behemoth. In the dark night where the crimson moon was obscured, a nearly invisible stream of breath swept down from the top to the bottom, enveloping Baltas and Katlia. The two demigods felt as though they were struck by lightning and their psychic was torn apart. Their spirit bodies seemed to be penetrated, okay? The breath of a mind dragon with his mental state already in a terrible state and having used a couple of trump cards, Baltas' mind went blank as the flashes flashed before his eyes. His body couldn't help but tremble. As for Katlia, she was also carrying the moon paper figurine, I forgot about that she had obtained from Forrest. I don't remember her getting this. Baltas got gotten. He got gotten. That's funny. It's like the other act. It's what we read earlier. Oh my god, I hate when it repeats the same words in different pronunciations. It throws me off. This helped her bear the burden of psychic piercing ones. Although it was unable to completely eliminate the effects of Mind Dragon's breath, it could help Katlia recover faster. This meant an opportunity to battle the demigod level. How is Katlia able to take them all on? This is crazy, dude. No help. I mean, she did have help, but like no physical help. In just a second or two, Katlia's eyes returned to normal. As for Audrey, who was in her dragon form and hiding in the darkness outside the forest, what the fuck? I'm sorry. Is there artwork on Audrey using her dragon form? Please tell me there's artwork. In just a second or two, Katlia's eyes returned to normal. Wait, I skipped the line. No, I know. I know Audrey's with her now, but like up until this point, she was like 1v2ing. That's the part I find crazy. No, I know, but now she's in her dragon form. As for Katlia, she was carrying the moon paper figurine that she had obtained from Force. This helped her bear the burden of psychic piercing ones. Although it was unable to completely eliminate the effects of Mind Dragon Breath, it could help Katlia recover faster. This meant an opportunity in battle at the demigod level. In just a second or two, Katlia's eyes returned to normal. As for Audrey, who was in her dragon form and hiding in the darkness outside the forest, she cast another mind deprivation on Baltas. Wow, this is crazy. There's one I can remember, yeah? Why am I losing my voice? Without any wow, I got sweaty coughing. Without any hesitation, Katlia raised her right hand and condensed the terrifying spear that was stained with fresh blood. She threw it at the Saints of Secrets Baltas. This time, Baltas could no longer dodge or resolve the situation. His chest was piercing through the spear of Longinus. His body stiffened for a moment before it rapidly collapsed, turning into a countless dazzling worms of stars. Some of these worms of stars vanished directly, while the others devoured each other. Some of them fused into a distant spot, forming a new Baltas. We form a new Baltas just like that. There is no longer any rationality left in his eyes. His body was continually collapsing, revealing an incomplete, extremely weak... Ah, my pinky toe. Extremely weak mythical creature form. It hurts just tapping it, man. At this moment, an illusionary door appeared beside him. It was grayish blue that has 7 brass locks. The illusionary door quickly opened as it spat out a 3-layer jewelry box embedded with various gems. The box of the great old ones which had been exiled had returned. It's back. With a crazy look in his eyes, Baltas caught the box, revealing a cruel and bloodthirsty smile as he tried to open the box. Oh shit! The 3rd level? That's the level he said he's never used. Even it said even he was scared of using that level, right? Third level? Oh shit. Oh, shit's about to go down, huh? All right, let's keep reading, dude. Chapter 1199 is called Comprehension Double. Inauspicious Box. Towards the return of Bottas' grade 0 sealed artifact, or the restoration of its normal condition, the hermit Catlia and Justice Audrey had managed to preliminary plan. After all, they weren't confident at killing a demigod in such a short period of time. They can do it. And yet you struggle to read LOTM, but I can read all that other crazy shit. I know. Crazy how the mind works, man. And if not for the fact that Bottas had fallen into a trap, having suffered the lethal blows of mental plague, sleeping beauty, and frenzy, and putting him into a crazy, incoherent state, he actually had many opportunities to teleport away without being stopped. But he can't, because he went through all that shit. In that case, Catlia and Audrey could only wait for Bottas to return to a safe house and release Force. Once the Eye of Mystery Prime provided them feedback, they could remotely create an opportunity for Miss Magician to summon the historical void projection. At this moment, facing Bottas, who was on the path towards losing control with no way to reverse it, and his crazy attempt to fully activate Grade 0 sealed artifact, Catlia and Audrey, one right in the middle of the scene and the other hiding outside the forest, simultaneously took the same action. They took out a translucent dark charm and recited a word in Jotun, Star. This was a teleportation charm, following the patterns, labels, and symbols of the record of the layman's travels. Klein had made a charm himself, so he made a star charm. Since the Sephira Castle could mobilize the powers of the Marauder Pathway... Oh, yeah, he can use it to some extent. Since the Sephira Castle could mobilize the powers of the Marauder Pathway, there was no reason not to respond to the pleas of the Apprentice Domain. As for the materials needed for the charms, be it a Mistologist Catlia or a Traveler Force, the both of them had a certain level of understanding towards it. There's no need for Mr. Fool to teach them, because they would know. With the two of them teleported away with the triggering of the charms, having plans to come back after a minute or two to confirm the situation, there is a cruel smile on Bottas' face. His eyes were filled with madness as his actions suddenly stiffened. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open the third level of the box of the Great Old Ones. It was extremely heavy. Oh, it's heavy, so you can't open it. It was extremely heavy, as though it was enveloped and surpassed by layers of forces. There was no way to activate it. This made Bottas feel like he was attempting to open a new world, not a box. Oh, the box of the Great Old Ones. So it's like the world of the old ones. This made Bottas feel like he was attempting to open a new world, not a box. In an instant, he sensed something, and the madness in his eyes disappeared. Extremely astonishment and fear arose in him. Tick tock, tick tock. A wisp of light slid down from Bottas' body. When they touched the ground, they transformed into insects formed from resplendent starlight. Okay, wait. The insects' bodies were bent into a semicircle, forming a magical glow that resembled illusionary doors. The insects' bodies were bent into semicircles, like a crescent moon, right? A semicircle, forming a magical glow that resembled illusionary doors. Several insects that resemble illusionary doors. At this moment, his incomplete mythical creature form suddenly collapsed and disintegrated, and mythical creature form. It's like illusionary doors. Oh, just like the worms of maggots and all that. Okay. And disintegrated into an irresistible manner. The two eyeballs of his eyes landed on the ground and were stained with dust. The two eyeballs were frozen with an indescribable look of horror. They were maintained perfectly, completely different from the other parts of his body. At Sequence 4, Secret Sorcerer died just like that. Pa. We killed him? A Sequence 4 Secrets Order Sorcerer died just like that. Bah. The box of the Great Old Ones, which had a silver black surface with many gems embedded in it, dropped beside Bottas' eyes just like a jewelry box commonly seen in aristocratic families. Above the great fog in an ancient palace, Klein heaved a sigh of relief as he lowered the Sea God Scepter in his hand in puzzlement. Oh, he was going to use it? And he said, nah, we're good. He was just moments from activating the power of Sephira Castle and using the level of an angel to conjure lightning storm. He should have done that earlier. He wanted to prevent Bottas from opening the third level of the box of the Great Old Ones. But the Saints of Secret's mutually destructive counterattack had failed to succeed. He encountered an unexpected failure from the very beginning. He was quite lucky. After Shio left the first battle, she immediately followed the plan and prayed to Mr. Fool. With this, Klein found an opportunity to enter the world above the Great Fog. Through the Crimson Star corresponding to the Hermit of Justice, he monitored the battles. He's seeing everything. As she moved to the second battlefield, Audrey found an opportunity to pray so that Klein could use her Crimson Star to directly interfere with the real world. This was also the reason why Audrey had arrived at her destination later than her hermit Kalia. Klein was so he didn't get a chance. I thought he was going to kick ass. Yo, man, that's some fucking girl power ass shit right there. That's some badass fucking girl power, bro. Holy shit, dude. That was fucking wild. I am like... Kalia mostly carried that fight, but Audrey and Shield provided some crazy ass support. That is so wild, man. That's some crazy ass boss girl power right there. Holy shit. This was also the reason why Audrey had arrived at her destination later than the Hermit Kalia. According to what a road said, the third level of the box of the Great Old Ones contains something very terrifying. I thought that the true creator had given it to him in order to create a terrifying disaster at the critical moment, so as to showcase the true colors of an evil god. Who knew that it couldn't be opened? Klein glanced at the Crimson Star representing the magician and discovered that it was covered in a layer of black ash. It seemed to have coagulated, making it impossible for him to see to the scene inside to confirm Miss Magician's condition. Leonard was there too, trust? Man, you guys said that last stream. He's an honor. I was laughing. You guys said that last stream. Like, Leonard is an honor. He is an honorary woman of the Terry Club. I was laughing when you guys said that. As for Sleeping Beauty, magic, and sphere of longingness that he saw, he came up with some ideas. After learning of the powers of mystical reenactment at the private gathering, Klein overturned his speculations about the fairy tale magic that Bernadette had. He had originally believed that the Emperor had specially created the stories for his daughter based on the fairy tales on Earth, or that after Bernadette's father passed away, she had deliberately reenacted the fairy tale he had told her about, a way to express her grief. From the looks of it, the answer likely wasn't this. Some of the fairy tales before the first epoch might have been mysterious. Yo, Unknown, man. Thank you, dude. Dude, holy shit, man. Thank you, bro. That you've done more than once, man, in like the last week. Holy shit, man. Thank you, guys. Dude, literally because of you, we hit like 10. I think we hit 10 super chats in one stream. That was a pretty cool record, dude. This meant that those fairy tales originated from mysterious incidents that had happened in real life. They were spread among the people, gradually becoming stories. They were recorded down by the writers and further embellished. Definitely W. This corresponds to the prophecy regarding the time when the stars are right. Mystery has never left and has always been around. It's just that the Earth era before the first epoch, they were suppressed by some kind of powerhouse sealed. If that really is the case, some of the legends and stories on Earth can be explained from another angle. It's no wonder that there's a spear of Longinus. I wonder if the Chinese fable of the ethereal utopia, Peach Blossom Spring, is involved in mystery. I'll tell Ma'am Hermit later and see if she can create a new magic according to this. Oh, and she helped? Wait, so Klein is gonna tell like his like Chinese folklore or myths to create new spells? Oh, that's cool. I wonder if Bernadette became a mythologist before the Emperor perished. If she did, it's hard to say if these fairy tale magics were created by the Emperor, Sequence 1 Beyond, or the Mystery Power Pathway, or by Queen Mystic Bernadette. But no matter what, the Emperor should have discovered that these fairy tales are also mysterious in later years, and also that he could draw powers from them. Well, there's no corresponding diary entry for Bernadette. I can't see the Emperor's reactions and his guesses. One of the reasons he insisted on going to the moon is to verify certain things. I can't believe if Roselle went to the moon, we're going to the moon. And that's clearly where Evernight is. She has to be in the moon, and that's why like the moon is red. That has to be it. It's repeated that most of the myths are fake. There's no way to draw under power. The novels of the internet era are the same. Klein sighed silently as he leaned back in his chair and continued paying attention to the battlefield. And the collapsed forest of the Hermit Kaelian, just as Audrey faced an abnormal change surfaced by Bautis and tactfully on behalf of Decipher. You, holy dude. Unknown. Is that Unknown? Your whole the text is cropped. Is that you, dude? Dude, thank you. On behalf of Decipher, dude, man, holy shit, dude, holy shit, man, thank you guys. The novel of the internet era are the same. Klein sighed silently as he leaned back in his chair and continued paying attention to the battlefield. In the collapsed forest of Hermit Kalia, and just as Audrey faced abnormal changes, suffered bots tactically gave up injecting their spirituality to use charms. Can a membership be given to subscribers? Yeah, people can gift memberships. Yeah, you can do that. I think that happened. I think Unknown did that last time. He gifted like 5 members, right? I think it was Unknown that did it. Somebody gifted 5 members and 5 random people got it. Dude, thank you. As for the hermit cat Leah, she was pushed to the spot where Bottas had died by the wind. She carefully avoided the box of the great old ones. Like, don't touch this shit, dude. Due to the fact that the scribe could use many powers, a demigod level sealed artifact would often have extremely negative effects. Apart from the box of the great old ones, Bottas only left behind a black pocket which seemed to be a part of his robe. Also, there is also the gathering beyond her characteristics, 2 eyeballs, and about 10 worms of stars. Most of the worms of stars had been destroyed, not all of them. Considering the horror displayed by the box of the great old ones, as well as the fact that Bottas was a high-ranking member of the Aurora Order and could be blessed by God, Cat Leah didn't rashly pick up the item. She was afraid that an accident would happen, causing the situation to develop negatively. Previously, during a private gathering, they had communicated with each other on how to handle such situations. That was, if he had the time and opportunity, they would first sacrifice this item to Mr. Fool and then distribute it above the Great Fog. After all, many items might bring about unknown dangers if they were to come into contact with these items for unknown negative effects. And there was a high probability that Bottas had a grade 0 sealed artifact. True. Sometimes merely knowing the existence of a sealed artifact of this level was an... Oh, just knowing. Sometimes merely knowing the existence of a sealed artifact of this level was enough to cause a sudden death. Yeah, just like if you know of the quill knows of you. According to what the star Leonard had said, it was best not to come in contact with such sealed artifacts. It was best not to ask, describe, or pry into it. Only a true high-level existence could also suppress them. Without any hesitation, Cat Leah took out a silver candle and other ritual items from the various hidden pockets of her purple patterned black robe. She then set up a simple sacrificial ritual. During this process, she pinched her lips, whistled, and created an invisible servant helper. It took about 10 seconds to set up the altar. After quickly reciting Mr. Fool's honorific name and using spiritual materials to open the door, sacrifice, and bestowment, Cat Leah heaved a sigh of relief. She got the invisible servant to move the box of the great ones, the black pocket, the 2 eyeballs, the gathered beyond characteristics, and the 9 worms of stars over to the altar. Oh shit. No, I don't think I know that yet. Secret Suppliant? I don't think I know Secret 0. I don't think so. With a whoosh, the items flew up and passed through the illusionary door. When Cat Leah saw this, she immediately pinched her low lips with her thumb and index finger, preparing to whistle once again to dispel the invisible servant, but amidst the whistling servant remaining motionless as though it had nothing to do with Cat Leah. Technically he knows. Oh, really? It was not explicitly said. Do I know Sleepless? Do I know Sequence 0 Sleepless? I don't know if I do. I know it indirectly. Damn. The hermit Cat Leah's eyelids twitched as she clenched her right hand into a fist and pushed it into her mouth, preparing to use the horn of magic. At this moment, a blazing silvery white appeared out of nowhere at the altar. Layers of bolts of lightning formed a destructive storm that enveloped the invisible servant in the middle. All of this quickly calmed down as he muttered to the servant and company. Easy? No, you don't? For Sleepless? Just to be safe? No, you don't? Okay. You don't know Sleepless, but Dunkel spoiled it in the original translation? We'll think about it. All of this quickly calmed down as the mutated servant was completely destroyed. Cat Leah exhaled and lowered her head, sincerely thanking Mr. Fool. Then she followed the ritual enduring process and packed her belongings. She used the Snow White magic, which was closer to a prophecy technique. Oh, this is going to be our last chapter, by the way, but we're almost done. Prophecy technique to clear the sense of its traces. And at this moment, Audrey had already used the teleportation charm from before and left the scene. Cat Leah looked around, and considering that Mr. Fool might need something more realistic, she took out a card from her pocket and threw it into the middle of the collapsing forest. The card was half inserted into the soul, revealing... Oh, they leave the tarot card behind. Revealing an image of an old man holding a glass lamp and the staff as he explored alone. The Hermit of the Tarot card. Damn, that's fucking badass, dude. All right, man. We're going to stop right there for now. Damn, that's good. We'll do overall thoughts. I don't get why they shifted from saying Sequence 9 pathways to name Sequence 0. I guess it's because since it's been a while, people just refer to it as the ultimate ability. That's like an iceberg level right there, you know? That's like a LOTM iceberg right there. What are you talking about? Okay, so think easy. Sequence 0 Sleepless. You don't know Sleepless, but Dunk was spoiled in the original translation. That's wild. So you read to chapter 300 yourself, but listen to easy read up to now, or only recently have a gap of like 800 chapters right now? Kami Sequence Zero Sleepless is probably easiest to know. Sleeping. Night? Like nighttime? Nighttime is not a... It's definitely not nighttime. Nighttime does not sound sinister enough. Cosmos? Space? Yeah, I won't, but I will push him to do some critical thinking. I'm taking to don't do leading questions. Don't. Okay, no leading questions. Okay, Kami. Do not search. Yeah, I won't search. I won't search. They do it in the novel too. At one point, we just say Death Pathway instead of Corpse Collector. Oh, I mean, only Death Pathway. I agree to call it by the Sequence Zero name. Yeah, you see, yeah, easy. It's Wet Dream. Sequence Zero Wet Dream. Sequence Zero Wet Dream. Den's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, so all I know is Evernight is in space. Cosmos. Stars. Space. Moon. 627 PTSD. Oh, hell yeah. That's triggering as fuck, man. Oh, wait, just heads up. Was there any artwork for today? I don't know if there was any artwork. I know Kami said there's at least one artwork on Audrey in her mythical creature form. What is that? Milosh sent Amon as a spicy Amon. Oh my god, this is Audrey? Oh, this is sick as fuck. Just an Audrey? Let me look at it. Just to be sure, there's no artwork on like Bautis or Tenebros, right? All I know for Tenebros, he was like in his Black Knight form. So maybe I can find something like in his Black Knight form. I don't know. I feel like that's a close. That is crazy. You know who she looks like? Show us. I know. Sorry, I forgot to switch. She literally looks like Edelgard from Fire Emblem, dude. Because Edelgard from Fire Emblem 3 Houses, with her armor, she has those, or like with her character, she has those same like dragon horns on her ears. It's so fucking cool. Corpse Collector is not deaf, and everybody's just saying deaf because that's what Sequence Zero back then called himself that. But I can still see people referring it to that. Oh, just the death pathway. I can see that. Oh, I almost dropped my mic, so we almost had to do the count, the mic counter. This is tight, man. This is sick as fuck. I can't believe this is Audrey. That is crazy. What the fuck? Can I use it as a thumbnail? Probably not. I probably shouldn't. No, I probably shouldn't use it as a thumbnail. I like it, man. It is so crazy how strong the Terror Club has gotten. Like, literally, Catblia, Force, Shio, Audrey. What do you mean? Is literally Sequence Zero named? Like, they're all so fucking strong, man. It is crazy. Wow, look at that. Wait, new milestone, bro. New milestone? New milestone, chapter 1,200. That is fucking crazy, dude. That is so wild. I don't know, man. I'm so hyped. I do love... Can I say the true name, Kami? I do love how, in Lore of the Mysteries, I love how they portray their characters. Like, Cuttlefish has such a cool way to, like, demonstrate characters. Like, everybody is such a bad fucking ass, man. Like, every single woman in Terror Club is a fucking badass. Like, congrats to you guys, man. Thank you guys for listening to me for so long, man. Holy shit, man. That's crazy. It's been almost a year. I think this month... He will learn anyways. Oh yeah, don't. Yeah, that's all right. Well, I mean, we're gonna figure it out anyways. Dude, how long has it been, man, since our first chapter? Hold up. How long has it been? When did we do our first react? Give me a sec. So, okay. This is crazy. This was uploaded when? Look how long ago this was uploaded. Oh shit! Tomorrow. I'm not gonna click on that. I'm not gonna fall for that. I'm not falling for that. That's bait. That's crazy. Look at that. Tomorrow, it's exactly 1 year. Oh, let me switch scenes. That is crazy. Look at the date. Wait, that's I'm cropping it. Wait, no, not full cam. Wait, no, not chat. Oh my god, I don't know my own scenes. That is crazy. Yeah, tomorrow's our 1-year anniversary since we read 1,200 chapters in 1 year. I know some people read that shit in like 2-3 months. I'm sorry I haven't been able to read that in 2-3 months, but you know what, man? That's still badass as fuck, man. That's crazy. Okay, we're gonna try something new. All right. Okay, gamers. Okay, gamers. Give us a cake. Yeah, we gotta. You know what? We'll get a birthday cake. We'll get a birthday cake tomorrow. That is crazy. That is wild. I can't believe I've been reading this shit for a year. To be fair though, we did lose like we lost like 3 months of reading time, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I remember like around December, I got really sick. I was like out cold for like 2 weeks. And then it took me like another week to recover. So we lost like almost like a month of reading time. It was like a month off. It was almost a month off. And then when I was planning for Japan, I didn't read like the 2 weeks before Japan because there's just so much like last minute prepping and buying and shit. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't stream. Yeah. Oh yeah, I caught the Demoness. Yeah. That's why. Yeah, that's why I couldn't. That's why I couldn't read. We kept saying that we caught the Demoness. I remember I caught the Demoness around like December, and then I got sick again in fucking January, and that was like about a month of lost reading time. Yeah, and then all of March we didn't. I don't think we read all of March. We went like a whole month. We went like a whole 3 weeks and 7 days. It was like a day shy of a month. It was a day shy of 4 weeks exactly that we didn't read in March, just because of Japan. Everything before and then like during. That's crazy. So technically, you fought against a Demoness for 3 months. She don't know the. She don't. Hey, that's between us. That's between us. I was able to hold the line, man. I held the line. I fought for my dying life, man. The ailment was so strong. Nah, no, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, I love my girl. I can't even joke about that. I love my girl too much. I can't even joke about that. I'm sorry, babe. I love you. Nah, that's crazy, man. Tomorrow's gonna be 1 year. We should get a cake. You know what? I think we should get a cake. I think tomorrow might be a short stream, a short read through. That way we can have like a cake and celebrate before we read a little bit. That way, hopefully nothing too crazy happens, because I do want to title it like 1 year reading LOTM. I think that'd be fun. Our 1 year anniversary reading it. That's crazy, man. All right. I think that's it though. We're going to come back tomorrow. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll read more. I'm going to upload the Shadow Slave video. I'm going to upload the reaction to the physical book release and all that. I'm gonna upload this. I'm gonna watch Critical Role tonight. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for tomorrow, love. Yeah, and then also on Fridays, I don't really stream that long. Cause Friday nights I usually have a little bit more free time, and I like to go to the movies. If there's one thing I like, I love me a good film, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm a sucker. That's like the one thing I can't give up. I can't give up video games, even if I can only play for like an hour a day. And I also just can't give up cinema. Dude, I feel like I love the movie theaters too much that like I need to watch a movie, man. Like I love it. It's like such a fun pastime, dude. I love sitting like really close to the theater screen and just like the whole screen fills up my aspect ratio. Dude, unknown. Dude, Jesus, man. Yo, you gotta chill, bro. Save your money, man. Wait. Thank you, bro. Dude, nah, what the fuck, man? From bottom of my heart, man. Holy fucking shit. Absolute W, dude. Thank you so much. But, dude, if you can't, man, save it. I know, man. I know we live in tough times, man. That shit's hard, man. But, dude, thank you so much. Holy shit, dude. So fucking cool. I never thought in a million years I'd be, like, doing YouTube videos. Wait, can I show you guys one more thing? I want to see if we reached our milestone. Look at this. Let me see if it's up. Dude, we did it. Wait, we actually fucking did it. I got a little tear in my eye right now. Wait, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to see something fucking crazy? Oh my god. I need to show my scene. Hold up. Oh man. All right, you guys ready? Let me show you my PC scene. Are you guys ready? Do you guys know what I'm gonna show you? I didn't think we'd primarily. I never thought we'd reach this point. After 738 videos, we fucking hit a total of 1 million views, dude. That's actually fucking wild, bro. Nah, it's I don't know if we're ever gonna get a sponsor. I feel like I need a business email. Dude, well, this is like so like sponsors can reach out. But I think we're too much of a small YouTuber to actually get sponsors yet. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. Maybe. But dude, we actually fucking did it. We literally hit 1 million views. That is so cool. I'm actually in disbelief. That's so wild. I got a tear in my eye. Oh man, that's so cool. I never thought people would click on my stupid ass videos and watch 1 million times in total. Oh look, hold up. Primarily, look, I'm not gonna lie. I think Girl hard carried like 20% of these views. For people that don't know, you can make fake companies to fake sponsors you in order to impress us. My not sponsored G Fuel ad. Yeah, we had it for a long time. This is because my music bro and sent me 30%. I got you. You get 30% of the ad revenue for being the DJ Cammy. I got you. Dude, look. And primarily though, Gura hard carried. 200,000 views is just Gura. Look. Yeah, 200,000 views is primarily because of Gura. But that is so crazy, man. But dude, man, thank you guys. Like crazy, dude. Unknown, thank you for the 5 gifts. Yo, you gotta chill, man. You're crazy. Damn, man. Damn. Holy fucking shit. Absolute W. Absolute fucking W, man. Jesus, man. That's fucking wild. That's actually wild. Goddamn unknown. Holy shit, dude. You just came in out of nowhere. I will stop for now. For now, I'll stop. Dude, man, thank you guys. Holy shit. That is crazy, dude. Thank you. Keep stalling. So no, we're not gonna stop. No, I will never bribe you guys for money. You guys know that. I mean, you guys can always do that optionally. I think subscribing, commenting, liking the video, like making the videos known and getting more people to subscribe, that's enough. Because like I feel as the YouTube channel grows, everything else grows, right? Like that's cool, man. Unknown chosen one hell of a way to become unknown. Unknown chose one hell of a way to become known. That is true. Opens a Bursey Foundation. My man's Unknown's about to start opening up a Bursey Foundation. By the way, YouTube takes like 40% of the money from donos. If you one day get regular donos, you should get like a Patreon. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Is it actually 40%? Well, I feel like that's better than what Twitch used to do. I think Twitch used to do like a 30-70 split. Wiz made one with how much? Wait, by the way, you take a 40%. Wiz made one with how much those 2 crazy motherfuckers gave him the last 2 free days. Damn. Yeah, easy started Patreon. I don't know. It's I've thought about Patrons, but it's like the thing is, I wouldn't even know what to do. Or like a Ko-fi. Was it coffee or Ko-fi? Coffee? Like I wouldn't even know what to do. And I feel weird like setting up all that, and I'm not gonna lie, starting OnlyFans, I'll fucking do an OnlyFans for free, bro. Free OnlyFans? Easy free OF? Bro, no, I'm kidding. No, that's not gonna happen. Maybe we'll do a different alias, you know? One that you guys won't know. But that'd be crazy. No, wait, no, not the OnlyFans part. It'd be crazy doing like Patreon. It's just the thing is, if I were to make all that stuff, I wouldn't even know like how to manage all that. Like I already have a hard time as it is managing all the YouTube stuff. Like when I leave, like once I leave my computer screen, I'm not really doing anything. Like all my thumbnails, I do it from my phone. I don't know if I tell you guys, Wiz is crying tears up about being coerced to start an OnlyFans. Meanwhile, easy. I'll fucking do it right now. He's scared to do it. Like, I'll fucking do it right now. No, the thing is, I mean, right now you don't need to. It's not like you're losing much. No, I know, but I always feel bad when people donate stuff, and then like I know YouTube takes a portion. But I guess that's just the way YouTube works, right? But I feel weird. Like if I were to make a Patreon, I wouldn't even know like what to do. Like the only thing I could do, I can just upload anime reacts without editing, because I know the one hard thing about anime reactions is editing. It takes so long. But I know on Patreon you just upload it right there, full raw reaction, and you're good. You're a-okay, right? Damn, I got so much XP though today. I know what client felt. Wait, do you get XP for donating? Saw gifted members instead of straight up donating. Wiz would have an OnlyFans by now. Oh, is that Sal is the other guy that gifted? That's funny. All right, man. I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys have a beautiful day. Tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary stream, reading Lord of the Mysteries. That's hype. I gotta find a cake. I'll find something. I'll definitely start stream later. Oh, I didn't know donating. Yeah, bro. I didn't know donating gives you XP. That's crazy. You get so much XP from donating, but like you have to chat periodically, like almost every other hour. Damn, bro. It's midnight for you right now. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you guys take care, man. We're probably gonna start stream late tomorrow. We're probably not gonna stream for that long, but we'll do like a little 1-year LOTM celebration video or something, and then we'll read a little bit. But again, man, Unknown, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the gifts. It's been hype. It's actually hype. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Fucking every time I see like the little blue thing pop up, like whenever I see like a donation thing or like what's that called? What's the actual terminology? I know it's not a donation. When it's oh my god, I'm stupid. What's the thing called? A super chat? When it's a super chat, right? I'm like, that shit is crazy, dude. Sal donated like 300. That gave him 10k XP. She was, what the fuck? Jesus, 300? Whoa, when was that? I gotta know what stream that was. Hey, what chapter was that, bro? Let me know, guys, so I know what day to give my full energy and take out the suit and tie. I'll let you guys go, man. You guys have an amazing day. We'll be back for the 1-year stream tomorrow. Peace. Have an amazing day. Later, guys.